exchange of ideas. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Download the radio.com app and stream the station wherever you go. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
But we're at the point now in the race where polls are not what we look at. We're looking at actual votes now. People have cast their votes in the tens of millions. We can look at that data and see where those votes are coming from, whether they're Democrats or Republicans. And we know that during the early voting period, the Democrats opened up a pretty big lead, which was what everybody expected. But then every single day that has passed, the president has chipped away at that lead, and the Democrats have absolutely not hit the mark. Joe Biden has not gotten enough votes in the bank to overcome the gigantic wave of support that's going to come from President Trump's voters actually on Election Day.
I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what is going to be. I don't know how this is going to turn out, and I'm nervous about it, and we will wait and see. I can't predict anything. You guys hear an echo?
I do now. I didn't hear it before, but I hear it now.
You know what? It's my computer. That's why I heard it. That's why I heard it before and nobody else did. Gosh, Katie, would you get this ship in line, please?
Let me try from home.
Real quick, is our guest on with us yet?
Yeah.
Do you have our guest? Okay. Katie's going to tell a little story. We're going to have story time with Katie Fitzpatrick later. Almost said Katie Bailey. That's kind of weird. But so stick around if you want to see. We got a little bit of a different setup today, so you're going to need to tune in to the Facebook Live, facebook.com/Annie Frey Show, or especially subscribe to that Annie Frey YouTube channel, because we are going to be broadcasting from YouTube on election night and as many nights as it takes to figure out who the next president is going to be. So just go into YouTube, Annie Frey, find us. We're live right now, and you can watch us and see the new layout, which we will explain in some time. Let's get straight to our guest. We have Liz Harrington on hold with us right now. Liz Harrington with the RNC. Such a pleasure to have you here, Liz, with us. And as I started at the beginning of the show, I do not know what's going to happen tomorrow. And we had Mark Lauder on last week, and he gave me a lot of confidence in what you guys are seeing. So I'm going to ask you again. A few days have gone by since then. Liz, how are you feeling about tomorrow and the days to come?
We're feeling really, really good. It's incredible. The president is working his tail off. He did 5 rallies late into this morning yesterday. And then, of course, he's already got 1 in the books today. He's got 4 more. We've got 2.6 million freedom-loving Americans who volunteered to join the Trump campaign and the RNC, who've been knocking on doors, making phone calls, organizing events, getting out there. I mean, and then you have just the organic truck rallies, the boat parades, all this is to say, this is really a movement, and people are getting off the sidelines and they're saying, I love my country. It's a special place. It's worth defending. And we finally have a fighter in the White House who feels the same way. We're tired of being told we have to apologize for America. We're tired of being told that we can't do this. We can't have fracking. We can't have oil and natural gas. We can't have our Second Amendment. We can't do any of this by an elite political ruling class like Joe Biden, like the Clintons, like the Obamas, like this corrupt cabal who've been there for decades and never had the interests of the country at heart. People are coming out, and it's incredible. And the media is so wrong again. I think if you turn it on right now, you see they're very nervous. They're very worried. because there are so many freedom-loving Americans who are getting involved, and we feel so good when we look at all of our metrics and everything we've had to do. The most important thing we can do, though, is go out and vote tomorrow. We're already looking good in the early voting and everything we needed to do in all these battleground states, but we got to turn out the vote, and that's what we're going to do, and we're going to win this thing.
Well, I do appreciate your confidence. And every time I speak with somebody like you or Mark Lauder or other individuals who we've had on who are privy to what your game plan is, what the Trump campaign game plan is, what the RNC's game plan is, it makes sense. Like when we listen to what you're saying, it's a specific plan of attack. I want to ask you, we're speaking with Liz Harrington, who's the RNC national spokesperson. I've heard a lot about ground games and the difference between what the RNC and the DNC is doing. I've heard a lot about, a targeted offensive to try to win this election. And you guys did it in 2016 and nobody counted on it. Nobody expected it to happen, but you knew what you were doing. You executed it and you won. How is that translating in ground game and your specific efforts that you have laid out to win this campaign, even against, when we see these registered voter national polls that just don't seem to favor the president?
Right. And it is a well-executed game plan, but it all comes really from the top. Our job is so much easier when we have someone like President Trump who actually did what he said he was going to do. He had a clear message in 2016. There was a clear contrast in that election, right? And people took a chance on President Trump because he was an outsider. They didn't know. He didn't have a track record in Washington. But he earned the respect and he earned Americans' votes by putting in the hard work and telling a very clear vision of how to make America great again. And then he did it. And so now we can point to all these things. So we've invested in all of these different states. The battleground states where we were in 2016, we've never left. We've been active for 4 straight years, but we've also expanded the map. We didn't have a ground game in Minnesota. That wasn't on our map in 2016. We only lost it by about 40-some thousand votes. Well, you better believe we're there this time around, and we're working really hard to flip some of these close states like New Hampshire as well. We have had the most amazing influx of supporters, first-time political activists, the people that hadn't been involved before. And we had specific targets to say, we want to have the greatest political ground game in history. So we broke the record from 2012 of 2.2 million volunteers. We had 2.6 million volunteers. There were 150 million voter contacts in the 2012 campaign. We surpassed that. We just hit 180 million. And by that, when it's all said and done, because our great team, these millions of Americans are out there knocking on doors in the freezing rain and cold and sweating out there in Florida, they're out there today in the last 110 hours knocking on millions more doors to put us over an even higher number, approaching into 200 million voter contacts. That energy, you can't do it when you're selling somebody like Joe Biden, who's been in the swamp for 47 years. You can't do it when you're trying to sell a message that wants to pack the Supreme Court and confiscate guns and putting Beto O'Rourke in charge of the Second Amendment, get rid of the oil and natural gas industry, what the Democrats are talking about. No, we have a winning agenda. It's freedom. It's about choice and education. It's forward-looking. It's history-making. This president has a track record. He built the greatest economy. And now what we see, what's at stake in this election with law and order and keeping our fundamental constitutional rights. Do you want the government telling you you can't send your kids to school and you can't go to church? Well, that's what the Democrats have done, using this awful virus from communist China as an excuse to take away our fundamental freedoms and say who's essential and who's not. We're all essential. We all have freedom in this country. And that's why people are waking up and coming out in droves to support this president. And again, I think it's going to blow everyone away. We've put in so much hard work. There's so many freedom-loving Americans who just understand that so much is on the line in this election. But again, it comes from the top. And finally have someone who is just out there who didn't need the job, but loves the country and knows it's special and knows it's worth defending.
Liz Harrington, the RNC national spokesperson, speaking with us right now. I want you to speak specifically to what folks out there. I mean, I'm about as well versed as an observer can be in numbers and polls and what this talking head is saying and what that talking head is saying. And you feel almost schizophrenic in the way that you sit there and you absorb this stuff, and one person says something and they get you all pumped up like, okay, maybe what I want to have happen here is going to happen. And then the next person who comes on has this whole data set that makes the other side feel that way. And, I was thinking about this morning. I'm trying to figure out which direction this is going. I love listening to you speak on these issues and hear your confidence. I think to myself, it would be ignorant of me to think that the pollsters couldn't be getting this all wrong. They did in 2016. But then I further think, how could they get it so wrong in 2016 and not adjust and not make make the changes that need to happen to make sure that they wouldn't be, mortifyingly embarrassed in 2020 and make the same mistakes again. Fool me once, right? So How do you reconcile, explain to us what we don't know, sitting in our living rooms? We just care about our country. We just love our country. And a lot of us love our president and we want him to win. And we want to see, 4 more years of Donald Trump. But you watch these pollsters, you watch these pundits talking about this. How is it that your information and what the talking heads on television are giving us, why are they so incredibly different?
Well, here's what you got to keep in mind. Think about what 2016 was about, right? What happened? What was it really getting to the heart of, right? It was about a disconnected political class that forgot the people. And President Trump said, I'm going to represent you. We're going to put our country first. We're not going to get on these endless wars anymore. We're going to get some fair trade. We're going to, get back to the basics and have a border, right? Fundamental things, the basic obligations of government. The swamp had completely left that behind. And so there were millions of Americans out there who had been forgotten, who were so tired of politicians coming in from both parties, quite frankly, and promising one thing and never fixing it, never doing it, never following through. Oh, it was just too hard, or you couldn't do this or that. Hope and change, right? And then at the end of 8 years, there was no change. It was, get used to the new normal. You're going to need a magic wand because those jobs are never coming back, right? No, that's not America. That's not who we are. There's nothing we can't do. And so President Trump believed in the country and spoke to millions of Americans who feel the same way. And what was the media's response? Russia, Russia, Russia. Well, first it was fake news, right? Oh, the people were just too stupid. They bought these crazy fake Facebook memes and they just were fooled. It was fake news. And then it was Russia, Russia, Russia for 3-4 years now, right? They never put in the work. They never looked in the mirror. They never said, how did we miss this? And instead, they've doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on this political correctness, on this unhinged leftward ideology that people are so sick and tired of that you can't even put on an NFL game anymore without getting this far leftward ideology. They're missing it again. They haven't corrected. So all their polls, they're doing the same thing. They're not finding the people who are so fed up with them and who don't want to even talk to them because all I ever hear from them is you're racist, you're a sexist, you're a bigot, you're awful. And we just got to scrap the country and make it a socialist utopia.
Real quick, because I'm running out of time here, but are these activist polls, are they trying to, instead of referring to where the electorate is, are they trying to sway it? Because I still don't understand how they can be so vast. I understand what those folks want, but the numbers, the polls, why are they so different?
It's groupthink. I think there are obviously some that want a suppression poll. They want you to think, it's over and it's done, and they oversample Democrats. But it's also groupthink. I mean, this town, the swamp, everybody just thinks the same, and they go one way, and nobody ever challenges anybody. You have to put in the work like Trafalgar, that polling group. They're finding the hidden Trump voter. They're putting in the work and changing their metrics and trying to see the bigger picture, because look at our rally data. You've got 40%, 50% not Republican. you've got 20, 30, 40% who didn't vote in 2016. These people are not being registered in the polls, but you better believe they're going out in the best poll, the best measure, which is election day. And that's where the real result will be.
Liz Harrington, it is a pleasure to speak with you. And we are going to know something soon. And boy, if you guys are right, and I'm hoping that you are, this is going to be cataclysmic in the world of politics, polls, and elections. And I'm sitting on the edge of my seat with everybody else. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much. Everyone get out and vote. We got to make it happen.
Absolutely. We'll speak to you again soon. Liz Harrington, the RNC national spokesperson with us there. Went a little bit long with her, but just definitely interested in where this is going. I mean, are you with me? How can these polls be so incredibly different? They were in 2016. We have a blueprint for this. Could they be that wrong again? I don't know. Dr. Scott Hardeman, a little bit of a COVID update. COVID is still happening, folks. If you haven't noticed, we'll get to those questions when we come back, including yours. Comment them on the Annie Frey YouTube Live and the Annie Frey Show Facebook page. We'll be back in a minute.
And the world's at stake. And the end is near.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show.
Michael's Flooring Outlet has 3 locations conveniently located for you. If you're shopping for flooring right now, going into the holiday season, yes, it's November. That is shocking, which means that it's the holiday season, especially if you listen to the Annie Frey Show. You know. If you want to give yourself that gift of flooring, which sounds like a really boring gift, but when you're a grown-up and you decide that you're going to give yourself a brand new landscape in your house with new hardwood floors, or maybe that luxury vinyl plank that you've been eyeing, or some waterproof options that look a lot like hardwood or stone, you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet because you're going to get the best deal. That's just a no-brainer. When you're looking to invest a sum of money into changing really the whole look and feel of your house, flooring makes such a huge difference. You want to go to the place that's going to treat you right every time. You want to go to the place that is going to give you the best value on great quality, and that's Michael's Flooring Outlet every time. St. Charles County, West County, and Darien Prairie. You can visit them online right now at michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
How do you know when someone is in the extreme? Would you know? For State Senator Jill Shoup, it's easy to tell. Maybe it's because she voted against a constitutional amendment making it easier to prosecute child sex offenders. Prosecutors argued it would be a powerful tool to go after sexual predators who target innocent children. And voters passed it overwhelmingly, with more than 70% of the vote. But Jill Shoup voted no. And when she had the chance, Shoup voted against bipartisan legislation requiring the state to report illegal immigrant sex offenders to federal authorities. Each time she voted no, who was Jill Shoup protecting? Maybe it's hard to tell if someone is in the extreme, but when it comes to Jill Shoup, it's pretty easy. You just look at her record. NRCC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.nrcc.org.
I'm listening daily. You are not alone. During these challenging times, listening is fundamental to promoting understanding and healing. Here's licensed therapist Dr. James Gay on dealing with the election outcome.
We need to actually allow ourselves to acknowledge our vulnerability and whatever is up, even if it's something that we didn't anticipate, right? To acknowledge what does exist. And then it's what we do with it that makes the biggest difference, right? So we need to have a plan in place to acknowledge the reality of the situation and to integrate moments of pleasure or hope or gratitude. It's not about ignoring all the stuff that's going on, the racial, social injustices in the world. It's about integrating some amount of positive experiences as much as we can to include that into our experience for our own mental health and well-being.
Talk has the power to save lives. Find out more at imlistening.org.
Another reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo. What is a cash out refinance? It's doing a cannonball from your porch.
Watch out!
That new car smell. A new college graduate in the family.
With a BA in business and a minor in medieval Renaissance poetry.
Reading the words paid in full.
Woohoo! did it!
At Golden Oak Lending, we speak mortgage and love translating it for our customers. Right now, rates are at a low 2.5%. Call 314-567-GOLD or visit us online at goldenoaklending.com and talk with an experienced local loan officer who will guide you every step of the way. NMLS 114937, 2.5% fixed, 2.655% APR on conventional 15-year mortgage with 30% equity and approved credit. 111 West Port Plaza, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at throttlenet.com. So it's crazy time at ThrottleNet. They are IT geniuses, but they are a little bit nutty. Right now, they will pay you $250 for a conversation about your IT support because they value your time during the crazy pandemic. They'll give you the first 30 days for free, no charge for all of their services. And then they'll pay you another $1,000 if you decide to leave in the first 30 days for your trouble. They don't anticipate that you're going to leave, but if you do, they'll shake your hand, they'll put you back where you were, and they'll write you a check for $1,000. It is completely no risk, and they reward you for your time and for your effort. They are the best IT shop in the city, named number 1 5 years straight. They are good guys. Like I said, they are geniuses at protecting you, but they can communicate. They don't stare at their shoes. They look you in the eye, and they tell you what you need to know. ThrottleNet.com/971. Hey guys, Glover here. If you are nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market games without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the DGS.
Tomorrow's history is today's news. Keep up with everything that's happening in America in 2020. 97.1 FM Talk. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
Into the unknown. Into the unknown. I can hear you, but I won't. Some look for trouble, while others don't. There's 1,000 reasons I should go about my day and ignore your whispers, which I wish would go away. You're not a voice, you're just a ringing in my ear.
We're going to act to get COVID under control. On day 1 of my presidency, I'll put in action a plan I've been talking about for months, already laid out. A national mandate, mask wearing, social distancing, testing, tracing, all things, as President Obama just said, that should have and could have been put in place months and months ago.
So Joe Biden just put a list of things together there that he's going to assemble for us that are going to help us take on COVID once and for all, like mask wearing and social distancing and contact tracing. We've been doing that. Have we been doing it as well as we should have? I don't know. Seems like we're learning a lot on the fly as we go, considering this is our generation's first major pandemic like this. Let's get to the expert on this issue. Dr. Scott Hardeman joins us. He is an ENT physician at Gateway ENT and also at Urgent Specialists. Check out urgentspecialists.com for the best in urgent care in the bi-state region. Doctor, great to have you back on the show. COVID is still happening. The election is tomorrow. I feel like we are at max capacity on information right now. There's a lot to take in.
I think you're right. It's there's a lot to take in for sure right now.
So when you hear Joe Biden listing off those things that we need to do to get this virus under control, let's set aside the things that he listed there, and kind of look at the messaging that has been out there as if there's a way to control this virus, to lasso this virus and get it under the control of, some politicians who are going to work us quicker into a cure or a managed state of coronavirus. Throughout the course of, I'd say maybe the end of February, maybe up to mid-March through now, we have been given so many different pieces of advice. The experts have been giving us different pieces of advice. Mm-hmm. I'm curious where we are right now which of those pieces of advice are the ones that you think are actually going to get us to a place where we are getting this under control? Mask wearing, social distancing, contact tracing, therapeutics and vaccines. What, looking forward, without politics involved, is the pathway to getting this corralled?
Well, there's a lot to unpack in that question because there's just so many different paths you can walk. It was kind of funny listening to Joe Biden talk about that because a lot of what they're saying are things that essentially we've implemented already. And you could say, well, we're going to make this a national mandate, but most communities, most states, most cities, especially where there have been spikes early on or initial surge of cases, and even now, have taken those measures of contact tracing, social distancing, limiting large gatherings, et cetera. The therapeutics and the vaccine, obviously, the vaccine helps to slow the transmission of this. It's just unfortunately going to be a little while until that really A happens and B until it really has a chance to take effect to where you'd have enough of that break in the transmission phase. As far as the therapeutics go, that's helpful to try and improve the outcomes, but you're still working with the premise that people are getting sick at that point. The winter is going to be tricky. We've been talking about this for several weeks as we transition into the fall and winter months here. In addition to COVID, you have influenza to deal with, and of course, 1,000 other different respiratory illnesses. So I really think that if people take on a little personal responsibility and do the right thing, which is to limit large gatherings, try and keep your network of people that you're in contact with relatively small. And obviously, if you're sick, the biggest thing is if you're sick with really anything and you think, oh, well, it can't be COVID. Well, it could be. I mean, certainly it could be. I think the key is, sit it out, just sit tight. And that's tough with high schoolers and kids in sports and people in college and family gatherings happening. But, do the right thing and set aside for 24, 48 hours, get a sense of what type of illness you have, because I think you'll have some sort of declaration of what we're dealing with. So, going forward, there's a number of different measures, but I think now as the cases are kind of surging a bit and we're hearing all over the news about hospitals, being at capacity or nearing that. And I think the concern is that as the raw case numbers increase, that will translate into more admissions and, of course, unfortunately, more deaths associated with that. But still, therapeutics are better and outcomes in general. I mean, we're kind of holding steady, but those numbers are increasing in the hospitals. And I think that's the concern is just as the raw numbers increase as we head into these winter months, that it just may cause a bit of a tipping point.
I want to play some sound for you here in a second, something that Dr. Fauci had said. And I also want to encourage people, if you have questions for the doctor, we keep him till the end of the hour here. So if you have any COVID questions, please ask them in the chat on the Annie Frey Show Facebook Live or the Annie Frey YouTube Live. You can comment your question there and we will field those when we come back. But here's something, I hope this is going to play, from Dr. Fauci that he said early on in this.
And you're in the middle of an outbreak. Wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is. And often there are unintended consequences.
So those unintended consequences, I remember you saying specifically on this show that individuals who are wearing a mask might get too complacent. They might think I've done something here, and then they can be relaxed on hand washing or maybe touching their mask too much. But from the get-go, mask wearing has not been the directive from the top down, even from people like Dr. Fauci and the Surgeon General. What benefit does mask wearing do for all of us right now? If you've had COVID, if you've been around someone who has COVID, if you just are somebody who's trying to do the nice thing and wear masks, what is the benefit of putting a mask on your face when you go out and about?
Sure. I mean, and you're right. That's part of the confusion with this is when you have mixed messages from the leadership, you kind of wonder, what avenue we are walking at this point. But mask wearing, in general, I would say this being a respiratory illness, if you're sick or coughing or sneezing, that respiratory droplet or spray largely gets caught up in masks. Some masks are better than others, obviously. Some, quasi health grade masks are probably better than just cloth protectants. But I think that is largely the benefit to it. We've gone back and forth on whether or not there's aerosolization of the virus and what the transmissibility that would be just through passive respiration. Can the viruses pass through those masks? And the answer is probably some of that. That's where the difference in the N95 mask come into play. But as far as just being out and about and wearing a face covering, I think it's you're being respectful of people around you and trying to, make a statement that you're effectively trying to, if you're ill or have something going on, that you're going to try and protect them from you being sick. And B, I think it does tend to, if you sneeze or cough and if you happen to be someone that was ramping up in some sort of respiratory illness, it does tend to kind of break that transmission a little bit and slow down the spread, because the transmissibility of this really comes down to just level of exposure time and, amount of contagion that you're exposed to. And if you can break that a little bit, it's one more thing to help. To be honest, though, I think there's a lot about how respiratory illnesses in general pass around. And I think part of the back and forth on the mask wearing was sort of what do we do, right? I mean, you live in a free society, public is open, people are moving through their day. What options do we have to try and slow that? Short of just saying everything in the entire country is completely locked down, you're not allowing two parties to come in contact with one another, we have to somehow learn to move through our world with this, right? Because we've seen terrible consequences of what lockdowns do and school closures and other issues. So it's, I think the mask wearing is helpful in the grand scheme of things to try and, slow the transmission through respiratory droplets like that.
Do we have any thoughts or do you have any thoughts or opinions specifically on the likelihood of, we hear the president say, I got it and I thought I was immune, and now they said it's just 4 months. And he says it in a way that's political, but the likelihood of recontracting this virus and having to go through that again.
Yeah, there's a handful of cases that have been documented globally out of the millions and millions of cases of this that can happen. I think the jury is still out a little bit on how long that antibody immunity lasts, but you can't just say that your immune system is chalked up to just what those circulating levels of IgM and IgG may be and how it prevents it, because you have other portions of the immune system through T cell immunity that allows you to recognize a virus. Which is essentially how you get some carryover immunity from other rhinoviruses and coronaviruses, that your body can recognize those from previous exposure and helps to attenuate the severity of the symptoms. So the cases that there are reinfection, the cases where someone has a worse outcome the second time around, those make a lot of headlines, right? But in reality, they're few and far between. And that, I think, speaks to that a little bit, that politicization of this, that it really tends to put fear in people's minds that we're never going to get past this. And the reality is that at some point we're going to, one way or the other.
Yep, we don't have a choice. Well,
That's
Dr. Scott Hardeman is joining us right now. He is a physician at Gateway ENT and also with Urgent Specialist. He's going to hang on the line as we take a quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to ask him your questions. So you got to get onto the Facebook Live Annie Frey Show on Facebook and the Annie Frey YouTube page. You can join us on Periscope too, but we're not really as prominent there. And comment your question and I'll field it for him when we come back. Stick around. We'll be back with more with Dr. Scott Hardeman in just a minute.
Into the unknown, into the unknown, into the unknown.
Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie. This is the Annie Frey Show.
Your home project starts with Lakeside Renovation and Design. Do yourself and your significant other, your spouse a favor and go with the experts. I know it's fun to try to do these things for yourself, but imagine the amount of time and strife and stress that you're going to save not fighting over this home remodel project as the outside gets a little bit colder and you're on the inside and you think you're going to take this up. Just have it done by the experts the first time. Here's one fantastic reason why, because they have a lifetime workmanship warranty that goes on top of the manufacturer's warranty to make sure that the project it's going to get done in a very timely manner. It's going to be so beautiful and professionally finished. You're going to get a great price on it as well. And you are going to make sure that if anything ever goes wrong with it in the future, which it usually doesn't, they're going to stand beside their work and they're going to make it right for you. They also have an 18 months interest-free financing option. So if you're looking to get that office space renovated and finally, since you're working at home, you're going to have that space that's just your own, or if you want to redo the kitchen for the new year, go with Lakeside Renovation and Design online at lakesidерenovationanddesign.com.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. The presidential election is less than a week away, and most industry professionals agree you need to get locked in before November 4th. Right now, mortgage interest rates are sitting near these all-time low levels. Why take the risk when rates are in the twos? Let's get you locked in before November 4th. Get locked in now before it's too late at thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Customize your space and make organizing easy with Dakota Closets from Menards. They're an easy way to upgrade any space to maximize storage. Begin with a pre-drilled starter kit and complete the look with shelves, drawers, wardrobe rods, and other accessories. Right now, all Dakota Closet kits and accessories are 11% off at Menards. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through November 7th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Mark Cox here. Guys, let Victory Men's Health help you regain your vitality by optimizing your hormones, vitamins, and sexual health. Victory Men's Health has the most cutting-edge technologies to treat ED. They have wave therapy. Listen, this is the biggest advancement for men with ED since the launch of Viagra. That's pretty incredible. They do the treatments in their office. Victory Men's Health offers wave therapy in both their Illinois and Missouri location. Check them out online today at victorymenshealth.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Furnace tune-ups are recommended each year to keep your heating system running efficiently and extend its life. Schedule your furnace tune-up and safety inspection and get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 FM Talk, keeping you plugged in while wireless. Download the radio.com app for your phone or listen by smart speaker.
Hey Alexa, hey Siri,
play 97.1 FM Talk. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show. You're listening to the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. As we do every Monday and have been doing since what, March, Katie? I think ish.
Yeah. Probably last week of March, maybe early April.
We're like, well, we don't know anything about this pandemic. We need somebody who does. So we've been having Dr. Scott Hardeman, who is a physician at Gateway EMT, also with urgent specialists, come on every Monday to answer our questions in a nonpartisan way. And we have carried this all the way into now November. It is November 2nd. It is the day before election. I can't believe I'm still broadcasting from my basement, but COVID is still a thing. So here we are. Doctor, thank you for holding on with us here. We had a call, and I'm going to start with Michael's phone call. And if folks out there want to ask questions, please comment them on the Annie Frey Show Facebook Live or the Annie Frey YouTube Live, and we'll include them. But Michael called into the station, and he wanted to know, why is it that coronavirus causes you to lose taste and smell?
That's a good question. So I think maybe last week someone had raised a similar question, but that's not an uncommon symptom related to upper respiratory illnesses. So the most common thing you would think of is that if you have nasal congestion, which a lot of initial symptoms associated with coronavirus, this COVID-19 or regular coronavirus that have preceded this, they cause nasal congestion, which then blocks the ability of airflow to sort of waft up into the area of the smell nerves up high in the upper nasal cavity. And then there's also thought that virus can directly sort of get into and damage the nerves of smell themselves. So that's a relatively common symptom with a lot of viral respiratory illnesses that we'll see, at least in my practice in ENT, but it certainly seems to be more common with this particular one. But it has largely to do with just the level of congestion and airflow to the smell nerves, but also to direct viral damage to the nerves themselves.
Okay. Larry on our Facebook Live, the Annie Frey Show Facebook Live, says, question, my wife works in the OR. They have to have N95 masks properly fitted and tested each year. Are these N95 masks from Home Depot really worth the money or the time?
So the N95s are generally cut from the same mold. It's a filtration size that they have, but in order to be, truly at their capacity, they have to be test fit, where you wear them and they kind of at the hospital, they'll put a little hood over you and blow some saccharine-like vapor in there, and you have to be able to be exposed to that and not smell that, which would indicate that it's not going through the mask. So, it has to fit tight around the nose and mouth. And so the ones, the 3M masks or these other N95s or KN95s, those are definitely, better than your standard mask that's out there, which again, just for clarity, a lot of the cotton masks are just basic medical grade masks. They are probably less impactful for you as the individual to stop airflow to you, essentially, if someone else is coughing on you. Whereas an N95 kind of does both. The traditional masks sort of slow if you're expelling some respiratory secretions, but the N95s tend to do both.
So here's a question from Lauren that kind of makes me gag, but I can relate to it as a mother of three. My kindergartner chews on his mask at school, and it is stinky and stopping wet. Ugh, at the end of the day, he won't stop. Is this really better than no mask? I have had some of the masks come home from my kids at the end of the day, and I'm like, just burn it, make it go away. Your thoughts on how kids are adapting to this, and if they're chewing on it and everything, is it still better than nothing?
It's not great because a lot of at least the medical grade masks, the moisture tends to limit some of their filtration capacity that's there. But to be honest, a lot of these kids that are at that age group that tend to do that, they're not passing a ton of this virus around at this point. So they're still, slowing down, again, large respiratory droplets. But it comes back to that if you're touching stuff constantly and your hands are not the cleanest, or if you haven't been washing them frequently, and then you touch your mask and then you lick your mask or bite on it or do something with it, that's potentially exposure risk with that. But they do lose a little bit of their filtration capacity. So don't lick your mask. That's right. And change them fairly frequently too. That's the thing, is if you have the capacity to swap out those masks, every day or two, the cheap little medical grade masks, or wash and clean the cloth masks, it's probably a good idea to do that.
If you learn anything this entire week from this show, it's that Dr. Scott Hardeman said, stop licking your mask. And I think that's an important thing to notice. Rosanna says on the Annie Frey YouTube page, she's heard other doctors talking about COVID, saying that they sound more panicked about it in this area. But she's complimenting you on your calm, but she wants to know, can you please explain the reason for your contrast in the way that you approach this, the way you speak about this? You are not a, pants on fire voice on this, which is one of the reasons we like to have you here. With your medical expertise, how are you able to approach this conversation with, the calm and composure that you do?
Well, I think a lot of those folks that are in the task force and they're out there on the media a lot, they're in a particularly tricky situation because they're looking at the same raw data and numbers that, I would see, or if someone really wanted to dig into it, they certainly see that too. Where they're in a position, though, is that they're being looked at as a position of authority and need to make recommendations that are very black or white. We need to do these things to try and slow the transmission, be able to try and not overwhelm our hospital system. My guess is you get any one of those folks into a room and have a conversation with other physicians, that they would tend to sort of scale back a little bit and say, look, we get it. There's a lot of cases. The case numbers are outpacing the really bad outcomes. And we know that the mortality rate and overall number of deaths have stayed relatively stable or declined from where they were in April. I think it just kind of boils down to some degree the position that they're in. And then, I have plenty of colleagues too that are panicked that direction, that really do feel like if they get this, that they're going to immediately have a terrible outcome. And that carries over, I think, to the average folks out there that just don't get an opportunity to have this distilled for them. And I think the take home point is that, no one really wants to get this, but I don't know that it's necessarily not going to happen at some point or another. I think it's just going to move through society, and we just need to protect those folks that are most vulnerable and do the things that we can so that the doctors and nurses and folks at these hospitals have a tendency to be able to have capacity to take care of the sickest of the sick with that.
Chris on our Facebook Live says, why do we continue to count numbers for COVID altogether so far when flu numbers are counted in seasons at the end of the year? Will we start over with numbers, or will they continue to pile on? It's a good question.
After the first of the year, you mean?
Yeah, I suppose. Or is there a time where we reset?
Yeah, so influenza season is usually largely looked at by season itself. Now you can drill that down based upon an annualization, but they'll typically say, that the 2019-20 or 18-19 influenza season had X number of cases and deaths attributed to that. I think just given where we are with coronavirus, we're going to continue doing this total tally for a very long time. which, I think it needs to, what will be really interesting is when we contrast that with the overall number of influenza cases and or influenza deaths. Is there a total excess death number that was changed over the course of this pandemic, or do the numbers kind of play out that while we've attributed a lot of deaths and a lot of people have died of COVID-related illnesses, what has it done to other respiratory illnesses? Are those significantly lower? And time will tell for that. But I think with influenza, we tend to look at it from a seasonal perspective. With this, I'll bet it's not going to turn over. I think it's going to continue to be an ongoing ticker of that.
There's a question here from Jason on Facebook, and he says, my daughter has been back in school in class 5 days a week for the last 3 weeks. Last Wednesday evening, one of her classmates tested positive. Now they have to put all the other students in quarantine for 2 weeks. If I get her tested and she tests negative, should she be able to go back to school the next day? I guess that probably is more about the procedure of the school. But if there's a positive test in a kid's class and they go get their child tested and it's negative, I mean, do you trust that negative, doctor?
It has a lot to do with, I think, the protocol of the school and what they're willing to accept. But it is definitely not a foregone conclusion that if you had some sort of exposure, first, if you test too early, I can tell you that the tests are clearly going to be negative because there is a period of time where the virus needs to incubate or ramp up to a point that it's detectable in your system. And that's a hard thing to do, right? You get a phone call, little Susie was exposed to someone in their class. I want to go right out and get my kid tested. It means absolutely nothing. It really doesn't. I think where you have to go back to is how the schools handled that. And look, okay, who was directly in contact? Were they wearing masks? Did they eat lunch together? Were they still 6 or 8 feet apart? How did they handle that? Because some schools have that approach where one kid tests positive, the whole school's back out. But a lot of the schools, at least that I've been privileged enough to deal with, they really have a very solid program and say, okay, we have a seating chart. We know who's in direct contact. We know who eats together. And we watch that core group of kids as opposed to everyone else. And that's works well. I think the testing, if you're going to test for someone, they have a 14-day quarantine period of time after a true exposure. But if you're going to test someone, there's really not a whole lot of validity in testing before 5 to 7 days after a known exposure because it's very likely going to be negative and can give you a false sense of security and to go back into civilization. So it's probably best, if it's a true exposure, to ride out the 14-day quarantine or drag your feet testing further into that 2-week period of time so you can feel like the results are more valid.
Dr. Scott Hardeman, a physician at Gateway ENT and urgent specialist, with us each Monday, answering your questions that you share with us on Facebook and YouTube. Here's one from Don on the Annie Frey YouTube page. When the air gets colder outside, our respiration will accumulate on the mask and freeze, then thaw in warm environment. What's the best practice to slow the spread and to deal with these colder temperatures, especially if you're somebody who is working outside and maybe still required to wear those masks?
Well, outside is going to be better anyway. There's better ventilation. You're in the sunlight. All of those things are known to disperse and or kill the virus better. So if you're out and about, most people that are working outdoors or moving from a cold to warm or back environment are probably going to be fine. If you can change your mask relatively frequently, meaning at the end of the day, if it's gotten wet, if it's had a lot of direct sunlight exposure, swap the mask out for a new one so that the filtration capacity is better. But I think that the take home, there's a lot of folks who are working outside. The risk of transmissibility is a lot lower in those well-ventilated areas like that outdoors than it would be indoors. And so would I recommend a mask freezing and thawing and then coming inside and keeping that same mask on? Probably not the best idea. I would swap that out if you have to go and then transition to work indoors, use a new mask.
I only got about a minute left here, so I'm going to try to breeze through 2 more questions here. Sure. Brad on our YouTube page says, what sources does Dr. Hardeman use to find numbers and information?
Lots of sources. I read through the Johns Hopkins site. I read through the Worldometers site. And then, just by being in the medical field, I have email and journal blasts that kind of come to me directly. But I also research through the St. Louis Pandemic Task Force website and follow the local numbers as well. So probably much of the stuff that I think everyone else can really drill down to and dig through it, just get a little bit of a different perspective on it, just being able to kind of bring all that together.
Only about 20 seconds left here, but I'm just going to ask you this question, which I've asked you many times before. Your best advice, what do you want people to know about this pandemic and how we are going to go moving forward?
Yeah, take some responsibility. If you're sick, don't go out. Keep your hands clean. Wear a mask when appropriate. And, just do the responsible thing at that point. But don't be fearful of it, but have a healthy respect of things.
We respect you and your time, and we're so grateful that you've been so helpful and loyal to us through these months, and we're going to continue doing it, and we are grateful each time and every time we can have you on here, Doctor. Thanks again.
Thank you all very much. Have a great day.
You as well. Physician at Gateway ENT and Urgent Specialists, on with us each Monday for a couple segments to answer our crazy questions, yours and mine. This week being no different. When we come back, we're going to speak with Stephen Moore, the senior economic contributor at FreedomWorks and visiting fellow at Heritage Foundation. How is it going to go? We'll be back in just a minute.
Attention St. Louis homeowners. Are you looking to sell your house without all the stress? Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis can buy your house cash and close on your timeline. No commissions, no repairs, no appraisals, no showings, no headache. Call Chris now, 314-782-7000, or go online to chrisbuysHomesSTL.com to get a free no-obligation cash offer for your house. Behind on payments? The tenant stopped paying the rent? The house needs too many repairs? Not a problem. Chris buys houses in any condition and deals with any situation. There's a reason why Chris Buys Homes is the most trusted home buyer in St. Louis. Go online to get your offer today. chrisbuysHomesSTL.com or call 314-782-7000. That's 314-782-7000.
If you're one of the many working from home these days or running your business remotely, you need a strong technology company that can handle any cloud, VoIP, Wi-Fi, or fiber needs. Look no further than Arcadia Valley Communications. They've got 50 years combined experience and prices that smoke the competition. Get your company connected by calling Ron Elkins at 314-924-3160 for a free technology assessment for your home or business. Find out what Arcadia can do for you. Visit them online at ArcadiaValleyCommunications.com.
It sure looks like Justice David Overstreet is the clear-cut choice for the Illinois Supreme Court.
Says who?
Everybody. Look at this list. Illinois Right to Life, Illinois State Rifle Association, the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police, and lots more.
Who's backing Judge Judy?
Madigan, Pritzker, the Chicago trial lawyers.
That explains it.
What?
All the nonsense.
Justice David Overstreet for Illinois Supreme Court. Fair, honest, impartial, and highly respected.
Paid for by Overstreet.
KFTK FM Florissant, K254CR St. Louis, driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk, a radio.com station.
Their final pitch on Lisa Brady, Fox News. The Biden and Trump campaigns have one last battleground blitz underway.
We're done with the chaos. We're done with the tweets, the anger, the hate, the failure, the irresponsibility.
Joe Biden earlier in Ohio.
We've got a whole lot of work to do. If I'm elected your president, I'm going to act, and I'm going to act on day one.
He will also head to Pennsylvania while the president holds 5 rallies in 4 states.
President Trump addressing supporters in Fayetteville, North Carolina, telling them that a Biden-Harris administration would mean economic devastation for all Americans.
They will collapse our economy and send our nation into a depression. Biden will raise your taxes $4 trillion.
Following the event in North Carolina, the president will fly to Pennsylvania, then Michigan, followed by a trip to Wisconsin before concluding the day in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The president won all 4 states in 2016, and he's hoping to repeat that tomorrow night.
Fox's John Decker in Washington. Fox News Democracy 2020 coverage of election results is tomorrow night. Watch on the Fox News channel. Listen on the Fox News app. A record-setting hurricane season just won't give up, and the latest storm is now a major hurricane. Fox's Evan Brown has this live.
Elisa, Eta is now a Category 3 hurricane, is impacting the Yucatan Peninsula, and while it's packing 120-mile-an-hour winds and dropping lots of rain, the forecast path doesn't show the storm crossing the Yucatan, rather making a U-turn and heading back towards the warm water southwest of Cuba. It will have dwindled to tropical depression by then, but the warm seawater could cause it to intensify again after the weekend. Lisa?
Thanks, Eben. Eta formed in the Central Caribbean over the weekend, the 28th named storm of the Atlantic season, tying a record set in 2005. America is listening to Fox News.
Walgreens has always been there to help make your healthcare easier. From making sure you have the prescriptions you need to answering any questions you have about them. Now we're here to help make Medicare easier too. Walgreens is a preferred network pharmacy with many plans, including United Healthcare, which can mean copays as low as $0 for you. Talk to a Walgreens pharmacist today. Walgreens, we make Medicare easy. $0 copay on Tier 1 generic drugs when enrolled in a plan with Walgreens as a preferred pharmacy. Walgreens accepts other plans.
I'm giving Jeb's basement renovations 1 star. He kept asking me what's behind the walls down there. I'm like, why? What do you know?
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
And then he's like, you can trust me with the job. And I'm all like, trust?
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
Yeah, he charged me less than he said he would, which is lying.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This Monday afternoon, looking for lots of sunshine. Little cool, below average temperatures, though. That's going to dramatically change this week. 58 for the high. Tonight, clear skies, 40. Tuesday, sunny. Cold start, but a fast warm-up Tuesday afternoon. 68 for the high. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, plenty of sunshine, and we'll be hanging around 70 degrees. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Southern Armory, your Second Amendment headquarters, keeping in the most popular ammo and firearms on today's market. Can't find what you want? Have us order it. Southern Armory, 9901 Watson Road, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? Yes. It's hablo.
Bom dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say, je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real-life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps, and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera.
Estoy con fome. Eu no tomé café de mañana.
Je suis des États-Unis et tu viens tu.
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com, Babbel.com.
If you've listened to 97.1 FM Talk, you have heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple on the station as the financial expert for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend on 97.1 FM Talk, and in case you miss any of those shows, on his podcast on radio.com. That's radio.com, and search Safe Money 97.1. So call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Goodwill wants to help you celebrate the holidays at Six Flags. Donate your car to Goodwill. You'll get a tax receipt and 4 free tickets to Six Flags Holiday in the Park, featuring thrilling rides, tasty treats, and exciting family entertainment for the holiday season. Support a good cause. Donating is easy and towing is free. For more information or to donate online, visit mersgoodwill.org. Use promo code Six Flags. Hurry while supplies last. Valid only for Holiday in the Park. Give hope. Give local. Give Goodwill.
You know what makes every diamond unique and special are its 4 C's: cut, clarity, color, and carat weight. But do you know what makes Diamonds Direct special and unique? It's our own 4 C's. The first C, concept. Diamonds Direct has revolutionized jewelry shopping by eliminating middleman markups and giving you direct access to the world's finest diamonds straight from the diamond cutters. The second C, choice. Diamonds Direct's multi-million-dollar selection of precious diamonds is unparalleled, and with over 4,000 designer settings to choose from, you are empowered to make a decision that works for your style and taste. The third C, confidence. With a nationwide price guarantee, free lifetime warranty, our unique 110% diamond upgrade policy, and our no-pressure, no-risk environment, you have total peace of mind. And the fourth C, community. Every year we partner with local charities and nonprofits with significant donations of time, money, and jewelry to make this a better place for everyone. Diamonds Direct, as unique, special, and rare as every diamond in our showcase. Get store hours and directions at diamondsdirect.com.
You can listen to 97.1 on radio.com through your smart speaker. It's information with perspective. Just ask it to play 97.1 FM Talk. Powered by Dell Technologies. Call 877-ASK-DELL. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, Sid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
So there's a big difference between equality and equity. Equality suggests, everyone should get the same amount. The problem with that, not everybody's starting out from the same place. So if we're all getting the same amount, but you started out back there and I started out over here, we can get the same amount, but you're still going to be that far back behind me. It's about giving people the resources and the support they need so that everyone can be on equal footing and then compete on equal footing. Equitable treatment means we all end up at the same place.
So this very Zen-like, Nirvana-esque video that is going around Twitter right now should send shivers down your spine. My heavens. I saw this yesterday and I shared it with a person who studies history, just a person I know. And he's like, that's communism. And I'm like, I thought so. Sounds pretty scary. Stephen Moore joins us right now. Always a pleasure to have Stephen on with us, a senior economic contributor to FreedomWorks and visiting fellow at Heritage Foundation. Stephen, that's Kamala Harris, the person who wants to be the vice president of the United States, has never faced a press conference in this entire campaign. And she's talking about trying to ensure that we all end up at the same place. Is this terrifying to you? Because I bet it is.
Hi, Annie. It's good to be with you again. And by the way, somebody had sent me that quote, emailed me that quote from Kamala Harris. And, Annie said, no, she did not say that. I thought it was one of those cartoons. And so this is the first time I've actually heard it on tape where you actually have verification that she said that. Look, Kamala Harris is not a very wise person. That what she was quoting is, do you know what that comes from? That's the Marxian doctrine, from each according to their ability to each according to their need. That's Marxism. And it is straight out of Das Kapital. And it is, folks, we as free market conservatives believe in the freedom, in the equality of opportunity, right? That's what we strive for in America. There's not equal outcomes, Annie. We want everyone in this country to have an opportunity to succeed. And that includes, the richest people to the immigrants off the boat with only the shirt on their back. That's what's great about America. Now, we don't always achieve equality of opportunity, but that's what we strive for. So I wish she had said, we want everyone to have an equal opportunity. But Annie, I didn't interpret her to be saying that. I thought I heard her say, we want everyone to end up in the same place. And that is anti-America.
It is unequivocally anti-American. I want to ask you too about equal opportunity, because this is where government steps in and equalizes the opportunity that exists for different Americans. Not every American has the same opportunity as somebody else does. We have, over the course of time, much to the chagrin of a lot of libertarians out there for sure, and conservatives as well, tried to equalize those opportunities. We have tried to put into place things that allow Americans to have that equal opportunity for success.
That's right.
But if you take that, if you can choose to take that opportunity as far as you want, or you can choose to pass it up. That's what determines your outcome. To suggest equity in the way it ends up, I want you to explain to our listeners who may not, you say Marxism and people are like, ooh, Marxism is bad. I know that much. But how close are we teetering to a Venezuela? How close are we flirting with a Joe Biden presidency and a Kamala Harris vice presidency with this real tangible idea of socialism?
So there's a lot there to chew on. I would say that, first of all, socialism, it's interesting, Annie. Remember, like 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, we started getting these polls out that showed young people, college graduates, were believe more in socialism than free market capitalism. And, we kind of laughed at that, but boy, these 22-year-olds are stupid. But, now we're actually seeing the chickens come home to roost, that there are actually a lot of young people who are voting who actually believe in this. And they actually believe that we should have equal outcomes, which, of course, is what you got in the Soviet Union and you got under Mao in China. And, people starved to death. And so it's a very scary economic doctrine. Now, have we achieved equality of opportunity? No, but there's one policy. If you ask me, Annie, what one thing we could do in this country that would most enhance equality of opportunity? You know what I would say?
What's that?
School choice for every single
amen.
Family
yes.
in America. We do great disservice to low-income people, to minorities, to immigrant families when we force them to go to rotten schools. Now, who's against school choice? Oh, the Democrats are. Not only is Joe Biden against school choice, it's in his platform, folks. He wants to eliminate charter schools, which have been a phenomenal success for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of minority. We used to have more charter schools, not less. But the left does not believe in opportunity. They do not believe in choice for parents. They do not believe in competition for our schools. Look, if these kids come out of school at 18 years old and they can't even read their high school diploma if they get there, how is that equality of opportunity?
Yeah, it certainly isn't. And I question why the Democratic Party is so adherent to this.
Oh, I have an answer to that. The answer is very clear. Almost 1/3 of the delegates to the Democratic National Committee are teachers union members. The teacher unions run the Democratic Party. You're not voting for Joe Biden. You're voting for the teachers unions. And, there was an article in the paper in the Washington Post, I believe, either the Post or the Times. I had to read both of them. That's part of my job. I have to read those newspapers. And they were saying that one of the people that Biden would consider for the Department of Education secretary is, I think her name is Randy Weingarten. She's the head of basically the teachers union. So, wait a minute. You're going to put the teachers unions in charge of the education system? I mean, that's how radical these folks are. I mean, the teachers unions are the one who are destroying our, look, great teachers. I know there are people listening to this show, Annie, that are teachers, and they're great teachers. And I believe a great teacher is worth their weight in gold. I had some really great teachers that really changed my life. So I understand greatness and the commitment that great teachers make. But there are also a lot of crappy teachers out there, and we need a system where we can get rid of the bad teachers and pay the good teachers more. That's what I believe in terms of if you in the capitalist system, if you excel. If you do your job well, you should be paid more.
Yes, so much so. Are you saying that the teachers unions have the teachers' best interests at heart and not the students' best interests at heart? Or is it even the teachers anymore? Is it just the union's best interest?
There are a lot of teachers I talk to who don't even want to be part of the union. But to be able to teach in the government schools, you have to be part of the union. You have to pay the dues. The good teachers don't even want to be part of the union, because they'd do better under a system where they could be paid more. Let me say this again, loud and clear, folks. Good teachers are paid too little, and bad teachers are paid way, way too much. They should be paid zero. They don't have a bad teacher there's no reason they should be in front of a classroom.
I completely agree with that. I want to ask you.
I'm not trying to be cold-hearted here, but these are our kids. These are our kids. We have to give every child in America a world-class education, and we're falling so far short. And then we say, "Oh, just give them more money." That's all we've been doing for 30 years. More and more and more and more money. We pay twice as much money per student in real inflation-adjusted terms over the last 30 years, and yet the schools are worse. They're not better.
Yeah, you can just look at the statistics to see that. We're speaking with Stephen Moores, a senior economic contributor at Freedom Works, the visiting fellow at Heritage Foundation as well. You've seen what Joe Biden is planning, and we listen to Kamala Harris with some really flowery music explaining how great communism is there. That's terrifying. How quickly can we, if a Joe Biden becomes the president of the United States, if he even gets the Senate along with the House, and he has the power in Congress to actually affect some real change, how quickly do we potentially go here in the United States, the last best hope for freedom on this planet? How quickly can we turn to a Venezuelan situation here in our country? Is it real? Well, is the scariness of it actually something people should be considering?
I think that if Joe Biden is elected president, by the way, shame on you, Annie, and Joe Biden is not going to be the next president. Donald Trump is going to win
tomorrow. You say that
tomorrow.
7 more times before you get off. It makes me feel better inside.
I'm just teasing you, but I'm feeling a lot better, by the way. There was huge momentum shift in the last 4 or 5 days. Remember, Annie, we got 33% growth, 33% growth in our economy on Thursday. That one of the best, I've been in this business 35 years. I've never seen a number anywhere near that good. Do you really think the American people are going to get off the back of Secretariat when he's racing down towards the home stretch? No way. I mean, you don't change horses when you got a president like this. But I believe if Biden were to win, and he's not going to, I believe we would have a severe recession. It would destroy our oil and gas industry. The higher taxes would just absolutely annihilate our small businesses, and our corporations would leave, and they'd move to China, and they'd be moved to Mexico and Russia. It's sort of the opposite. What was Trump's theme? Put America first. And basically Biden's agenda is put America last, because his policies would do so much damage to our economy. I pray it doesn't happen, because I think he's more radical, way more radical than Obama was, than Hillary Clinton was, than, remember George McGovern and Michael Dukakis and Walter Mondale. His agenda is way to the left of where they are. Folks, this is not your daddy's and your granddaddy's Democratic Party. This is a party that has been taken over by a radical left. Just look at what happened in Philadelphia over the past weekend, and the burning down of stores, and the looting of stores, and the shooting at police. That's your Democratic Party today, and the Democrats don't do anything about it.
Stephen Moore, have you ever referred to Trump as Secretariat to Trump? Because I think he would love that. He would be very happy about that. I will,
because he's like, nobody thought we could get. Annie, come on. Nobody thought we were going to get 33% growth. Most of the economists said, it'll be like if we get 13, 14% growth. This was double the all-time record in the history of the United States. We've created almost 12 million jobs in 5-6 months. It's unbelievable. Look, there's still a lot of work to be done, Annie. And the question I pray Americans ask themselves when they go to the polls is, do you really think Joe Biden is going to create jobs for America? He's never created a single job in his whole life.
I think he created some for Hunter Biden, but that's a story for a different time.
Maybe one. You got me there.
Steve, I got you on one thing ever. I want to ask you real quick before we let you go.
I stand corrected.
Mark the tape. Your prediction tomorrow night going into Wednesday, what do you think happens? Is it a landslide? Does he squeak by? Does he get the popular
really
vote?
Close. We need every vote. We need every vote. And if you know people in Annie or any of your listeners, if you know people in Pennsylvania, get them out, because I've been saying this from the start. Whoever wins Pennsylvania is going to win this race, and it's razor tight there. It is very, very close. So I can't wait for Wolf Blitzer to say at 12 o'clock, midnight, hey, we've made an announcement. Donald Trump has carried Pennsylvania. I remember when that happened 4 years ago, and it's going to happen this time, but it's going to be really close, really close.
All right,
and by the way, the thing that scares me, Annie, is if this spills over into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because, they're still going to be counting ballots, there's going to be rioting in the streets.
Man, let's pray that doesn't happen. Looking for a decisive victory here, and we'll see.
We want to win in the landslide.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. I've just decided. Okay. Stephen, thank you so much. Always great to speak with you.
Next week.
Oh my gosh, yes, we will. Bye-bye. Stephen Moore, senior economic contributor at FreedomWorks and a visiting fellow at Heritage Foundation. If you know anybody in Pennsylvania, you should call him and tell him there's an election happening tomorrow, and let me talk to you about some of the candidates that are involved. If you're listening to the show and you're in Illinois, you should know people in Pennsylvania, because we lost our 5th largest statehood to Pennsylvania because everybody fled our state. I wonder why people were leaving the state of Illinois. Why did that happen? I could do a whole show, but I won't. Katie, who are we talking to when we come back? This is exciting.
We have Mr. Brandon Tatum, which is Officer Brandon Tatum. He is the co-founder of Blexit.
Is pretty excited. We're going to discuss a lot with him when we come back. If you have something you want to ask him and you want to send it our way, Facebook.com/Annie Frey Show, the Annie Frey YouTube. We'll be back in just a minute. Don't go anywhere.
Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show. This is the Annie Frey Show.
Good. Are you looking for a new dentist? Well, let me introduce you to my dentist, who is also taking new patients right now. It's Foley Dental Group. Learn more immediately online by going to FoleyDentalGroup.com. They're located in Maryville, 618-288-9670. They have 4 dentists there, and they offer all of the general dentistry services that you've come to expect: teeth whitening, fillings, and dental implants. Let me give you a few highlights about what it means to go to Foley Dental Group and why they are different than the rest of the options that you have out there. The other options are good, but Foley is just better. And this is why I've chosen them to be my dentist and my family's dentist. They have crowns in one day, no more waiting for several days or even weeks to get a crown. They have digital tooth scanning. Say goodbye to those gooey impressions. They are going to get a full comprehensive look to make sure that they know exactly what's going on in your mouth, because they care about your overall oral health. And it goes through the rest of your health as well. It's going to be comprehensive. It's going to be thorough, but it's going to be comfortable and relaxed. Netflix at every chair, massage chairs. And you're going to make sure that when you go visit, you're going to get a baked cookie. I think it's fantastic. If you're looking for a dentist, or if you're looking for a change in your dentist, please consider going to the very best in the bi-state region, Foley Dental Group. Online at FoleyDentalGroup.com.
Hi, this is Lance Drury. If you have payroll tax problems, you have serious legal problems, you need an attorney. Call 314-260-6120 or toll free 888-367-6512 or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
At Ameren, Illinois, we're proud to power one of the smartest energy grids in the nation. With innovative technology, we have the power to detect, isolate, and restore outages faster than ever before. Plus, it gives you the power to manage and control your energy by keeping you informed about your usage, which can help save you money. Even better, our smart grid is getting smarter as we continue to make upgrades to our system. Now that's energy at work. Learn more at AmerenIllinois.com/MetroEast.
Being safe doesn't mean being scared. We all want to get back to what we love, to going out, shopping local, even going to work and school. But to protect the people we care about, it's important that we all take precautions. You can feel okay and still spread this virus. Wearing masks, washing your hands, and social distancing can get us back to a world where we can all breathe a little easier. Show me you care at showmestrong.mo.gov.
Jill Shoup has been a politician for 20 years, and she's been for higher taxes a lot. 2001, Shoup backed a new federal gas tax. 2002, Shoup voted to increase property taxes without voter approval. 2003, Shoup supported another property tax increase, 21%, but this one rejected by voters. 2008, Shoup advocated for a local sales tax hike. 2009, Shoup voted to impose new taxes on healthcare. 2011, Shoup voted for higher taxes on small businesses. 2012, Shoup backed higher state income taxes and taxes on cars. 2013, Shoup wanted a higher income tax. 2014, Shoup backed higher taxes on families, higher taxes on businesses. 2015, Shoup voted for a gas tax increase. 2016, Shoup voted for another gas tax increase. 2018, Shoup voted for a higher business income tax and a higher personal income tax. And in 2020, Taxin' Jill Shoup wants you to send her to Congress. Congressional Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.congressionalleadershipfund.org.
I'm listening daily. You are not alone. During these challenging times, listening is fundamental to promoting understanding and healing. Here's licensed psychologist Dr. Milo Dodson on accepting the election outcome.
We go back to the basics of focusing on what we can control, and we focus on moving forward, not with a stage or a state of agreement, but a state of acceptance. our mental health and our health overall is of the utmost importance. So again, we take the time we need out of our daily schedule. We actually create structure and routine in our schedule to connect with our loved ones and to really name like, hey, this is kind of abnormal. Like elections don't really go like this, but coming from a place of acceptance actually allows us to maintain and recognize our power.
Talk has the power to save lives. Find out more at imlistening.org.
The commute is making a comeback, and dependable traffic is here to get you there. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company, the best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. This is The Annie Frey Show.
Both campaigns wanted to talk to me about it. And, I was eager to talk to both campaigns. I'm done playing this politic game, joining sides. To me, that doesn't get the job done. What gets the job done is to, try to make a deal with whoever's in power, and hopefully they see what we're going through. Now we don't know who's going to win, and so the fact that we don't know that is the reason why I felt like we need to meet with both sides.
So that's Ice Cube. We've been hearing from Ice Cube talking to, folks like CNN are just putting up videos on his own Twitter account talking about his contract with Black America. Now, I have read the entire contract with Black America. I think it's good to read these things to see what kind of content is in there and what the message is. The contract with Black America was handed to both sides of the aisle, the GOP and the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party said, great, talk to us after the election. The Trump campaign and the Republicans said, let's sit down and talk about this. And there were things taken from the contract with Black America and put into Donald Trump's Platinum Plan, which is an effort that the Trump campaign is using to build on what they've already done to reach out into minority communities, but specifically the Black community. And they worked with Ice Cube. Ice Cube has made progress with what he's put together. And he's getting crapped on for it because he actually talked to Republicans. Now we are looking at an election tomorrow, and it is unfolding before our eyes. And the question is, 8% of the Black vote, I think it was 8%, went to President Trump in 2016. How much does that have to move to make a cataclysmic difference in this 2020 election? And who is out there speaking for these individuals who are thinking for themselves? Whether I don't know that Ice Cube's come out as a Trump supporter. He seems to be a supporter of his own agenda here, and I respect that. But the idea that these individual groups, these demographics, are not a monolith. Somebody who's been speaking about this for quite some time is Brandon Tatum. He is the founder of the Tatum Report, tatumreport.com. I'm looking over it right now. It looks like an amazing website. He's also a former Tucson police officer, and he is the co-founder of Blexit. Brandon, a pleasure to have you on the show today. You are somebody who is moving and shaking and making a difference, and we are very grateful for your time on the show today.
Thanks for inviting me on.
For sure. I want to ask you specifically, when it comes to the voice, being the co-founder of Blexit, I don't know that this is Blexit is necessarily a GOP group of Black individuals. They're just people who have, from what I understand, walked away from the groupthink of the Democratic Party. Give us your explanation of what Blexit is to you and what it has been and grown to since you helped found that organization.
Yeah, it's definitely not connected to the GOP. It's just a bunch of Americans that have come together, many of which are African Americans, to come together to express the freedom of thought, the fact that we can think for ourselves and have that freedom to pick and choose, how we want to live our lives, whether it's how we vote or whether it's how we raise our children. And so it's pretty much a free thinking tank that we've developed, and we've given people a voice and an opportunity. So we go around the communities all over the country. We have over 20 chapters, and we have a chapter per state. So we're in over 20 states where we do things in the community. We have a after-school program that's coming out where we help young people fill in the gaps and where their parents aren't able to help. So that's pretty much all we do. You know, it has minimal to do with politics per se, although politics is very important in our lives.
Yeah, I want to ask you about, you know, the Black support for Trump in 2016 versus what might exist here, what the culmination of this election in 2020 might be. Do you feel as though that one party or the other has taken advantage of the assumption that a Black voter is just going to cast their ballot a certain way? Has that started to penetrate the mindset of a lot of voters that you've talked with and had these discussions with?
Yeah, I think both parties have taken advantage of presuming that Black people are going to vote a particular way. You know, the Democrats think they have it in the bag, and then the Republicans think that the Democrats have it in the bag. So it's kind of a lackluster effort from the Republicans to really reach out, because the funny thing is that most Black people in America are conservatives, and they just don't understand that Republicans are conservatives. Republicans aren't racist white people. And I think that we've seen from 2016 to now awakening of people looking at both sides or getting an opportunity to hear a different perspective. Because if you listen to the news, everybody's one way. You know, everybody's all the Black people that speak out, they're all one way. They're all liberals. They're all Democrats. They all, you know, believe in all of these lies that the Democratic Party is pushing. But then when you hear individuals like myself and Candace Owens, who now we've amassed millions and millions of subscribers on our social media and followers. I mean, people are hearing another side, and they're waking up to what's real.
We're speaking with Brandon Tatum, co-founder of Blexit. I also want to encourage you to check out his amazing website, tatumreport.com. You're also a former police officer. I hear you say, you just said there that a lot of Black Americans have thought that Republicans specifically are racist white people. Donald Trump happens to be a white person. And I got to say, I put up two tweets this weekend. And the first one said, on Friday evening, I put name a Joe Biden policy. And I got ratioed into oblivion, which I really wanted to read the responses and everything. So it was okay with me. And I read them almost all. But when I asked people to name a Joe Biden policy, at least 50% of the responses were, they check my bio, they see that I'm a white Christian. And then it was an immediate attack on how I could, as a Christian, support this racist white man. It had nothing to do with Joe Biden's policies. They don't even care about Joe Biden's policies. Donald Trump has put together the Platinum Plan. He has worked with Black Americans who want to share their voice, to integrate what those Black voices are saying and listen to them. And somehow or another, when I ask about a Joe Biden policy, it's enough for Black and white people alike to only criticize the fact that I support a white racist. Is Donald Trump permeating any of this just default understanding that he is the white racist in chief? Is he making his case to Black Americans right now to chip away at what you said, that the Republican Party is just white racists?
Well, I think President Trump is making a small case. I think the people who are really making a case are actually the Democrats. I think people don't realize, like when I was a Democrat, and I switched because of the Democrats, not because of any great thing a Republican ever said or did. It was because I realized how delusional and deranged and inconsistent and hypocritical the Democrats were, which is why I literally walked away from the Democrat Party. So I think that a lot of Black people are waking up because they're looking at their own communities and going, well, the Democrats are running this. You know, Joe Biden was in politics for 47 years. He was in the White House with Barack Obama for 8 years. What did he actually do? And when they have, you know, and they pandering and they say, you don't vote for me, you ain't Black, and they doing all these, you know, ridiculous antics, people begin to say, you know what, I ain't feeling that. That just don't seem right. And then they begin to look on the other side. When you see the tax code, and a lot of Black people are entrepreneurs. I mean, even some of them are illegally doing entrepreneurship, but A lot of black people, it's a culture of entrepreneurs that trying to get out and do something and make a difference in spite of adversity. And you look at the tax code and you say, there's no way 62% makes any sense. There is no way we're going to get a leg up when you're imposing taxes and other things like that. So I think black people are waking up more so because of what the Democrats are doing versus what Trump is doing.
You named one thing there, but you said earlier that black people are often conservative. They just don't understand or connect, I should say, conservatism to the Republican Party. When you are forced, as you were, to walk away from the Democratic Party, you got to look around and see what else is out there. When folks look at the Republican Party or when they see what conservatives are standing for, what is it that is attractive to many people in the black community that they might not have realized was on the other side of the aisle previously?
I mean, I can't speak for every black person, but I think it's the freedoms, it's money-making opportunities. You know, when you're looking at a party that says, look, we're cutting corporate taxes, young black people who want to start businesses are like, that's a great idea, you know, to have corporate taxes cut, because I can build businesses or people who are already entrepreneurs that have businesses. They can say, you know what, I can now add value to my business and pay my employees. And, you know, so different things like that. I mean, some of the things that I love about I'm biased because I was a cop and right. So I love America. So I'm not coming from a position of saying, I don't know how I feel about America. Like, I love this country. So when I look at my love for America, I see that on the Republican ticket. I see that on the Republican side. I mean, I'm proud to be here. I love the people who serve in the military. I love police officers. You know, I love the Second Amendment. I own tons of guns, and that's my right. I love talking. Obviously, I'm on this show. I love my First Amendment right to be able to speak. And I appreciate our founding fathers, white and black. And so when I come from that perspective, I gain a level of respect and love that's deeper for the people who are typically on the Republican ticket versus the doom and gloom of the Democratic Party telling me that I'm oppressed and that white people hate me. And I don't know a white person that hate me, you know? So I think that those factors that I'm alluding to, especially with black folks that think like me, that are proud of this country. I mean, those are the things that the Republican Party make you excited about.
You know, with your correlation between being a Black American and also being of law enforcement, you know, this year has been a clash of Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter. Those are all hashtags at this point. You know, nobody is saying those sentences to mean what the sentences say. They're saying it because behind it comes an enormous agenda. I'm curious what your take is walking out of 2020 as we get close to turning the page and potentially having a new president or seeing Donald Trump reelected. That brokenness that exists, that a lot of people are counting on that divisiveness and that brokenness to continue to further their own agendas. Do you see a place where we intersect and we meet and we overcome this massive divisiveness? If either president gets elected?
No, it's not. It's just, unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be unity in this country for the foreseeable future. I think it's going to always be a divide. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but when you look out in the world and you see people that are throwing bricks at police officers, and you see people calling the death of men and women who serve in this country, and you see leaders not even calling them out on it. You see people adding fuel to the fire, saying that it's justified and okay to burn down buildings because of oppression. And they don't even stop there. They go further and say, we need reparations. We need to train white people that they are subconsciously biased against black people, no matter what they say, no matter what happens, and no matter what their cultural upbringing is. Even if they don't know nothing about America, they immigrated here. If they have white skin, they somehow are wrong and responsible for the ills of the United States of America 100 years ago. When you see that, and you see those by the millions of people thinking like that, I can't see anybody changing their minds, because as soon as President Trump get reelected, the smear campaign continues. They're going to say it was rigged. They're going to say that Russia was working with the president. They're going to say the president is going to destroy a country. They're going to start testing hundreds of thousands of more people and saying there's new cases everywhere. And they're going to just make a divide, because this is to me personally, and I'm a Christian and I believe in the Bible, This is the separation of the wheat and the tare that I believe that God has spoken about through his word. And that means that the good amongst us will be now separated from the evil amongst us. And then at the very end, God will deal with the people who are evil. And I think that's what's happening right now.
Brandon, Tatum, one last question for you. And I love hearing everything that you're saying. And I want to encourage people to follow you on Twitter, to go to the Tatum Report website and see what you've put together there. It's a great alternative to, some of those other report websites that might exist in the world. I want to ask you what you think is going to happen tomorrow, but specifically the black vote and how it's going to come out to support these two candidates. Do you have any predictions to make, or expectations, I should say?
Yeah, I'll predict that Trump is going to get 25 to 30% of the black vote, which is going to be a complete shocker to a lot of people in America. And it's going to just obliterate the Democratic Party. I think President Trump is going to win in a landslide victory like we've never seen before. I think his margin of victory is going to be much greater than it was in 2016. Not because I'm hoping, it's because you cannot avoid looking at those rallies. During the pandemic, you're talking 40,000 people showing up randomly. When I say randomly, I mean with short notice. You're talking about Trump been to Arizona 4 or 5 times, and he has at least 30,000 people at each rally. I was at one. I mean, you got 90-mile Trump train through the state of Arizona. You got people in New York and California. I mean, you got people doing stuff that I have never seen people do to support a political candidate. You cannot overlook that. So when you look at that and you look at the evolution of people like myself and Candace, and I'm gonna just use us two because these are the two people that I know the best. You're talking about Candace Owens was a Democrat in 2015. I was a Democrat technically in 2015. Now look at us. 4 years later, Candace Owens has millions and millions and millions of people who have heard her.
She got Kanye.
Follow her message.
She got Kanye's attention. It's really unbelievable. I've got one last question here before we let you go, Brandon. We've got Chris on our Facebook Live who says, "What can a local St. Louis white guy do to volunteer with Blexit?" I'd be interested in assisting, encouraging people to get involved in your movement. What would you like people to do?
Yeah, I don't want you to feel bound by the fact that you have a particular skin color. I mean, we have a particular agenda, but anybody can help. I mean, think about Harriet Tubman. If she did it only with black people, she wouldn't get anywhere. So I think we all need to work together to make a difference. But go on Blexit.com and put in an inquiry. Maybe I don't know if we have a chapter in your state specifically, but if we do, you can find it on our website and go and contact the chapter and go and volunteer. We have plenty of people who are white. Plenty of people who are Asian, black, who support Blexit, and they volunteer and do all kinds of things. So don't let the color of your skin hinder you. Come out and support and help us change the world.
Brandon Tatum, so many people were so excited to hear that you were going to be on with us today. And we know that we're going to put this out on social media. We'll tweet it at you to make sure that anybody who missed it gets to hear it. Looking forward to tomorrow, and your efforts are so important to this. So we're very grateful that you're here with us today.
And thank you all for having me on. God bless you all, and have me back.
Yeah, we'll have you back soon. Brandon Tatum, co-founder of Blexit, founder of TatumReport.com. That's what you're going to do on the break right now, is go check out his website, because I think you'll find it very informative. And I'm going to take a break because Carl's going to come through my screen here and kill me if I don't. Sorry, Carl. That was just too good. I couldn't stop. Leave me alone. Seriously. I could have kept going and going. Let's take a quick break. Katie, you want to do story time when we come back?
Absolutely.
Katie's got a story to tell us. And if you go to facebook.com/Annie Frey Show, you'll see our setup is a little bit different than it has been in the past. People in different places. Carl, once again, dressed up as a Star Wars character, which is the most predictable thing about what we're looking at right now.
Stormtrooper tomorrow.
Carl 3PO. All right.
Nice.
We'll be back in just a minute with Katie and story time.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. This is The Annie Frey Show.
Hey friends, it's Annie. 80 million in real estate sales in 2019 doesn't just happen, but the Monsheen team made it happen in 2019 for Berkshire Hathaway Alliance Real Estate. Christy and JT have 64 years of combined experience. To them, it's more than just a business, it's personal.
Creating relationships that last a lifetime, their commitment to exceptional client service is what drives them. When you need to buy or sell, why trust anyone other than the #1 team at Berkshire Hathaway Alliance Real Estate? The Monsheen team will be there every step of the way. Visit them at themonsheenteam.com. That's the MONSCHEIN team.com.
Mark Cox here. Selling your home's a big deal. Choosing the wrong agent could cost you big time. So what if I told you you can have one of the top realtors in St. Louis working for you? How about safety and selling? No one is better prepared to help you list and sell your home safely and hassle-free from start to finish than Gloria Liu. She's with GL International Realty, part of Coldwell Banker Premier Group. Listen, Gloria has 9,000 buyers looking for homes right now. That's one of the reasons she sells faster and nets her seller 3% more money when compared to the average agent. On a $300,000 home, that's $9,000 more dollars in your pocket. Gloria is so confident she'll sell your home, she'll guarantee it. If she can't sell your home, she will buy it, and guaranteed in writing. I strongly recommend you call Gloria today. 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Are you registered and ready to vote? Find out and register if you need to at vote411.org. Don't miss the deadline. Have a plan to vote on November 3rd or know the deadlines if you're voting by mail. Vote, make it count. Go to vote411.org.
Is your siding dated and showing signs of wear and tear? Do you worry about your friends and neighbors visiting your home when it looks like it needs repairs? At Lakeside, we feel you should be proud of your home. For the last 23 years, we've helped thousands of homeowners just like you update their home so they could love the look and feel of their newly sided home. James Hardy Fiber Cement Siding gives you the look of a brand new home.
Guys, just wanted to say hello and a personal thank
Lakeside Renovation and Design today at 636.
He's watching on YouTube. He said it's for my 2024 or something campaign against
This is Sean Rummerman, your host.
I have
of
no
We're Having a
intentions.
Senior
I
Moment
hope that maybe
every
she's saying
Saturday
that, then maybe
on 97.1
you think
FM.
she's going to win.
If
But
you're concerned
thank
about
you for
slips,
YouTube
trips, and
Super
falls,
Chat. Really
give us a call
appreciate
at
it. Just wanted to give you a personal thank you right here. Made me laugh in the middle of the
anytime,
Brandon
day or
Tatum
night. We'll be happy
interview,
to
which
come out
was
and provide you with a
unprofessional,
free,
but
no
still worth
risk,
it.
no obligation. That's $125 value safety risk assessment. We want to help you avoid those slips, those trips, those falls that could land you in the hospital.
Well, Alex, it's finally happened.
What is that?
The has hit the fan.
That it most definitely has.
Hi, this is Sid Glock and Colt from Tactical in St. Peter's.
And this is Alex.
Tactical will be remaining open throughout the crisis to provide you the supplies you need.
Yeah, like flamethrowers.
Why would they need flamethrowers, Alex?
Flamethrowers kill coronavirus on contact?
Genius. I was thinking more like tactical gear, body armor, survival and medical equipment, high-capacity magazines, or bulk ammunition.
Okay, boomer.
Tactical St. Peter's.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Mark Cox Morning Show.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. The presidential election is less than a week away, and most industry professionals agree you need to get locked in before November 4th. Right now, mortgage interest rates are sitting near these all-time low levels. Why take the risk when rates are in the twos? Let's get you locked in before November 4th. Get locked in now before it's too late at thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating over 50 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Dave Glover Show.
No, I think no one should want to be a congressperson for any reason other than service. They shouldn't be making a lot of money, and they certainly shouldn't be able to insider trade, which they can now do again legally.
Weekdays at 3 on 97.1 FM Talk.
I do my hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling?
Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
New kid in there, swimwear, going to the pool quick. Come now, come dry your eyes. You know you a star, you can touch the sky. I know that it's hard, but you have to try. If you need advice, let me simplify. If he don't love you anymore.
All right, Katie. Hi. How you been? What's been going on? Anything new? Anything you'd like to share?
Oh, you know,
feeling?
same old. Well, as Annie pointed out before the break, there are some changes right now happening, and I am broadcasting from my kitchen, and it's very different because I've been in the studio since March when everybody left.
Yeah, you've been there the whole time.
And now I'm in my kitchen, and it's very strange because usually when I'm on Carl's end and I'm working the board, I'm like, oh, okay, this person sounds this way, or, back it up a little bit because you're super hot on the mic. And now I'm just speaking into this microphone, hoping to God it all sounds good and that Marty shuts up.
To your cabinets and your dog who's like, Mom, what are you doing? This is weird.
Yes, I had to lock all of the animals up because I'm like, quiet you. I need to broadcast from the kitchen. But the reason why I'm here and not in studio is because last Wednesday I woke up as I usually do and got a pot of coffee going, and I noticed that I could not taste anything. And then I ate a breakfast sandwich and noticed I couldn't taste that either. And then I stuck my head in the fridge to see if I could smell something really potent, like a jar of pickles, and I couldn't smell anything. So I got kind of freaked out, as one does.
You didn't notice, like you had to actually be in the process of tasting and smelling to know that something was different here.
And thank God, I had no other symptoms. I didn't know really what was going on. So I made my way to urgent specialists, which we have Dr. Hardeman on with us, like we just did at 12:26 today. And he helped me out to get a rapid test at urgent specialists. And I found out within 30 minutes that I tested positive for COVID. And it was just a very surreal experience because, you hear about everybody else's symptoms. And for me, I was blessed, and God really has been looking out on me and looking out on my husband, because the only symptoms I really had were the loss of taste and smell. And then I had a tiny bit of congestion, which we just heard from Dr. Hardeman, that kind of plays into losing your taste and smell. Other than that, no headaches, no chill, no fever, no cough. I've been truly, truly blessed. But this virus hits everybody differently, especially depending on your immune system, whether it be weak or strong, your age. It was just a very bizarre thing to wake up to on Wednesday because I didn't expect it.
So if you wouldn't know that COVID existed, if we weren't so keenly aware of what is going on in the world today, would you have stayed at home? Would you have been able to would you have soldiered through and powered through this experience that you've had since last Wednesday?
Oh, totally. And I think that is the weirdest part about being at home right now and quarantining. You all already know this because I say it religiously. Annie and I are totally different in this aspect, whereas I am losing my mind right now because I can't go outside and I can't do anything because I'm an extreme extrovert.
This is the most excitement Katie's had since Wednesday.
I feel like I am being reinvigorated right now because I get to talk to you guys and I get to talk to people and see people. It's insane. And other than the loss of taste and smell, I feel totally fine. Thank God. I feel totally fine. So it's the craziest thing because before COVID, on a normal day, I would have woken up and not had taste or smell and been like, that's kind of weird. Maybe I'm coming down with a cold. You know what? I'll take some medicine. I'll be able to power through it and go to work. Mm-hmm. But now it's like you cannot, you can't take that risk. And since I have been in studio, that puts me in a totally different position because then everybody around you has to kind of look at each other and look at the bosses and say, well, when is the last time I had contact with Katie?
Yeah. And it's, this was bound to happen somewhere. You've been wearing masks and you've been taking care of yourself and it happened. And I said to Kate, when Katie was freaking out on Wednesday, I said, it's ridiculous to think that this was never, if we've been talking about this for this long and it never hits us inside, I would kind of be scratching my head about it. It's ridiculous to think that it wouldn't eventually get into this, which is why we are all in separate places, because the show went on and Katie handled her stuff and we all picked up and it was fine, which is what everybody's been doing this whole time. But one more question here. And Carl, can we go an extra minute here? Is that fine? Thank you.
Thanks, Carl.
Because we were about to, just so you know. Katie, if you knew if whatever type of fear you've ever had about this, having gone through this portion of it, of course, your experience is yours. It's anecdotal. It's not everybody else's experience. It's a serious virus. But how do you feel about this now that you are on this side of it? You've tested positive, having it is behind you. You're handling it. What's your personal experience of knowing what you know now?
Like I keep saying, and I have to reiterate this, I have very, very mild symptoms. So I know a lot of folks that are having flu-like symptoms where they can't even get out of bed. I know a lot of people that that were asymptomatic, that had no idea, but were exposed to someone else and had to get tested. I have friends that are doctors and nurses that have been around this continuously. So when they get it, it was no big deal. But for me, in my perspective, we are very lucky and we're very fortunate. And every day this can change. Tomorrow I can have a different symptom. Tomorrow I can feel differently about this. But the scariest part about this for me was the idea, not necessarily my health, but the idea that every single person around me had to get tested, and everyone, I just didn't know. I didn't know if I had spread it. I didn't know what their outcomes would be. So there's a lot of fear in the idea that you could be putting somebody else in jeopardy. But quarantining and stuff like that, that's put a lot in perspective for me too, because I'm like, can't wait to get out of this.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll talk about this a little bit more in the 2 o'clock hour. If you have questions, you can put them on the chat. Katie will answer them. We'll be back with Congressman Ann Wagner in the 2 o'clock hour.
Hi, Chad Hansen with Hansen's Tree Service and Environmental Resources. At Hansen's, we manufacture a full line of garden and landscape products that are perfect for your outdoor project. Pick up any of our products at World Outdoor Emporium, Kirkwood Materials, or a Hansen's location near you.
A pay-to-play scheme has former St. Louis County Executive Steve Stenger sitting in prison tonight.
Former County Executive Steve Stenger will officially be a federal inmate.
Stenger used our tax dollars in exchange for campaign donations. Stenger then gave the money to his insider friends, like Dark Money Deb Lavender. Stenger went to prison. But even then, Dark Money Deb Lavender never returned Stenger's dirty money. Instead, Lavender's using it to run for higher office. But that's not the only dark money Deb Lavender's received. She's taken hundreds of thousands of dollars in out-of-state dark money contributions. Say no to dark money Deb Lavender and her rich out-of-state, out-of-touch funders. She's for them, not for us. There's a better choice. Andrew Koenig was raised in a working-class family. In the state Senate, Andrew led the effort to lower income taxes for working families and fought to cap property taxes in St. Louis County. Working-class values, results for working-class families. Andrew Koenig for state Senate. Paid for by Missouri Senate Campaign Committee, Ron Richard, Treasurer.
Southern Armory, your Second Amendment headquarters, keeping in the most popular ammo and firearms on today's market. Can't find what you want? Have us order it. Southern Armory, 9901 Watson Road, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Del Walmsley here. The first thing you're going to have to learn is until you stop expecting the politicians or anyone else to change your life isn't going to change. The only person who can change your life is you, but you need to know how. Listen to my show, the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins.
You could be on your way to a better lifestyle and experience the life of your dreams. Tune in to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. Weeknights at 7, right here on 97.1 FM Talk.
KFTK FM Florissant, K254CR St. Louis, driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk, a radio.com station.
A battleground blitz. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. On the eve of Election Day, the campaigns are running out of time to reach voters.
Biden will raise your taxes $4 trillion, massively increase your regulations, close down your factories, send your jobs overseas. That's what he's been doing all his life.
President Trump beginning his homestretch run with a rally in North Carolina. He has 4 more today in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Joe Biden pouncing on the president's suggestion that he might fire White House task force Dr. Anthony Fauci after chants for that at a weekend rally.
I got a better idea. Elect me and I'm going to hire Dr. Fauci. And we're going to fire Donald Trump.
He spoke earlier in Ohio before heading to Pennsylvania, which is also getting visits from both running mates today. A court fight over voting going down to the wire in Texas. Fox's Jeff Manasso has this live.
Lisa, outside a federal courthouse in Houston.
Count every vote.
Count every vote. Reaction from people who've already voted in largely blue Harris County, Texas, where a federal judge will decide whether or not to invalidate almost 127,000 ballots already cast at drive-through polling locations set up, Republicans say, in violation of state law. The Texas Supreme Court on Sunday rejected Republicans' bid to halt drive-through voting, where roughly 10% of Houston area's in-person votes have been cast. Lisa.
Thanks, Jeff. A formal greeting for the newest member of the U.S. Supreme Court.
Justice Barrett, we wish you a long and happy career in our common calling.
Chief Justice John Roberts extending the greeting to Justice Amy Coney Barrett as the High Court resumed business earlier today following Barrett's confirmation last month. A 17-year-old from Illinois accused of killing two protesters just making his first court appearance today in Wisconsin, where he was extradited Friday. Bail's been set at $2 million. America is listening to Fox News.
Walgreens has always been there to help make your healthcare easier. From making sure you have the prescriptions you need to answering any questions you have about them. Now, the question is whether you have the right Medicare plan. And we're here to help make that easier too. Walgreens can save you money and peace of mind with copays as low as $0. Visit walgreens.com/Medicare today to see how. Walgreens. We make Medicare easy. $0 copay on Tier 1 generic drugs when enrolled in a plan with Walgreens as a preferred pharmacy.
I hate Tom's Tulip Shop. It just smells so flowery. Like we're good at your flower shop. You don't need to remind us.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
I needed a fake plant. They don't sell fake plants. Thanks for nothing, Tom.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto and business insurance.
Then he says, have a great day. I'll decide what kind of day to have.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Air Comfort Service heating and cooling weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This Monday afternoon, looking for lots of sunshine. Little cool, below average temperatures, though. That's going to dramatically change this week. 58 for the high. Tonight, clear skies, 40. Tuesday, sunny. Cold start, but a fast warm-up Tuesday afternoon, 68 for the high. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, plenty of sunshine, and we'll be hanging around 70 degrees. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it's a right fit for you. And check out the podcast from the Associated Press, Ground Game, hosted by AP's digital editor, Megan Crane.
What's holding you back from solving your tax problems? If it's cost, know that the longer you wait, the more expensive it'll be. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Tax resolution doesn't have to be expensive, and waiting year after year to resolve your tax problems can be extremely costly. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. So take the first step now and hire a tax resolution attorney to help you. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. But the longer you wait, the more interest and penalties you'll pay. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Your energy needs are changing. That's why Ameren Missouri isn't waiting on the future. We're building it with a smart energy plan, advancing thousands of projects across the state. Here in St. Louis, we're adding new clean energy sources and installing new composite poles to better withstand storms. Moving Missouri closer to a future of energy centered around you. That's energy at work. Learn more at amerenmissouri.com/plan.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at ThrottleNet.com. So it's crazy time at ThrottleNet. They are IT geniuses, but they are a little bit nutty. Right now, they will pay you $250 for a conversation about your IT support because they value your time during the crazy pandemic. They'll give you the first 30 days for free, no charge for all of their services. And then they'll pay you another $1,000 if you decide to leave in the first 30 days for your trouble. They don't anticipate that you're going to leave, but if you do, they'll shake your hand, they'll put you back where you were, and they'll write you a check for $1,000. It is completely no risk, and they reward you for your time and for your effort. They are the best IT shop in the city, named number 1 5 years straight. They are good guys. Like I said, they are geniuses at protecting you, but they can communicate. They don't stare at their shoes. They look you in the eye and they tell you what you need to know. ThrottleNet.com/971.
When my family and I started this campaign, we pledged to run on my record and the facts. I'm proud that we have done just that. My opponent's false accusations and outright lies are painful to my family and to me. I am a constitutional conservative, endorsed by the Illinois State Rifle Association, Illinois Right to Life, the Fraternal Order of Police, and Debate. I will be a fair and impartial justice on the Illinois Supreme Court. I am asking for your vote.
Paid for by Overstreet 2020.
Stewart's American Mortgage, online at stewartsamc.com. The guy with the bagel loan. If you are looking to get that refi, hurry up and go with Stewie. He is going to take care of you every step of the way. The thing that I appreciate so much about Stewart's American Mortgage is that you work with him. And he's really, attached to that idea of the way business used to be and ought to be and still is when you go with Stewart's American Mortgage. The bagel loan is called the bagel loan because a bagel looks like a zero and you pay zero in fees that other lenders are going to charge you for. And when you're purchasing a home and taking out a loan for $250,000 or more, you're going to pay zero in lender fees. This is going to save you so much money at the front end of this loan. And also, if you're doing a refi, get you into a much lower rate. Rates are down. Get them while they are hot. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Call him, text him, mention the Annie Frey Show when you do. You can also Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
You can listen to 97.1 FM Talk online anytime. Just go to 971talk.com, where you can listen live and even rewind. Or download the app for your phone at radio.com. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rip my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. It's a pleasure to be with you. Tim Murtaugh was on Fox with Harris Faulkner the other day. It was yesterday. And it was interesting to listen to how he was asked a question. He's a campaign manager with Trump 2020. It was interesting to listen to how when they're talking about polls and if you're a Trump person and you go on Fox and then they're like, you're down in the polls, you're going to lose. How do you feel about that? It's interesting to listen to the way that the GOP, the RNC, the Trump campaign reacts to these kinds of questions, because it seems as though their information is a little bit different than at least what Fox specifically, which is what I watch the most, what they have to offer their viewers. Listen to Tim Murtaugh and Harris Faulkner here on Fox this weekend.
The Fox News poll is always one of the worst, and it's notoriously bad. Your main pollster is always working for failed Democrat candidates and was, in fact, Tom Steyer's pollster. You got one college professor in there, so you can call it bipartisan, but it's a Democrat polling firm, and it's a big one. And so we have always discounted Fox News's polls. What you see in a lot of the state polls from different organizations are a definite narrowing of the race and the president actually taking leads in a lot of the key states. Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona. Polls in recent days showing the president pulling ahead in those states. And that's what we've always seen in ours.
So then he followed up and talked about what it is that their campaign is actually seeing.
But we're at the point now in the race where polls are not what we look at. We're looking at actual votes now. People have cast their votes in the tens of millions. We can look at that data and see where those votes are coming from, whether they're Democrats or Republicans. And we know that during the early voting period, the Democrats opened up a pretty big lead, which was what everybody expected. But then every single day that has passed, the president has chipped away at that lead, and the Democrats have absolutely not hit the mark. Joe Biden has not gotten enough votes in the bank to overcome the gigantic wave of support that's going to come from President Trump's voters actually on Election Day.
Well, as Brad on YouTube says, look, it's Chad. Hi, Chad. Well, welcome into the studio.
What's going on, Brad?
Thank you for that introduction, Brad. You're not here to be our pollster, our local, expert reading the tea leaves here, but you are like the rest of us are, I'm sure, paying attention and sitting on the edge of your seat going, oh my gosh, I know what I need to have happen. I know what I want to have happen. I know what I'm investing in happening, but what the hell is actually going to happen? As you're taking in all of this that we're taking in right now, where are you at on what's going to happen tomorrow and the rest of the week?
I'm ready for tomorrow to be over. Ready for this election season to be over.
2024 starts.
Yeah, no,
Wednesday.
right. I kind of figured. I always said the polls were a little skewed. I'm not surprised by everybody coming out and saying that the polls are kind of skewed or kind of not really depicting what is actually happening, as well as you got people that just are like trying to rescind their vote. Like they voted early and now they're asking, how can I go back and change my vote? So that's a little alarming for me. I'm like, no, you should have just waited like I did.
Yeah. Have you voted?
So I have not voted. I'll be voting tomorrow. I'm getting paid to vote from one of my jobs, and I'll be here to do the live broadcast with Tony Colombo tomorrow night.
You mean you get a paid day off? They're not paying you to vote a certain way. Just for clarification.
Yeah.
Or how do you get one of those jobs?
No, if they're not paying me to vote, my vote will cost a lot more than they're paying me.
I love that. We had Brandon Tatum on earlier in the show. I don't know how familiar you are with Brandon Tatum. He's a co-founder of Blexit, and he was talking about the black vote and how, the idea of Blexit is the black voter walking away from the Democratic Party, but it doesn't inherently mean that they're walking straight into the Republican Party. When you look at the Democratic Party, and that is generally speaking default for a black voter, when you walk away from that, you've got to survey what's in front of you. And maybe that's libertarian, maybe that's Republican, maybe that's screw politics forever, I'm never voting again, or I've never voted and I never will. Yeah. But I mean, for you, I don't know if you considered yourself to be a Democrat previously. I don't know what you consider yourself to be right now. But the state of play that exists right now in 2020 for a millennial black voter like yourself, what do these parties have to offer you?
Just not really nothing. Really nothing. They don't really show me anything. The platinum plan is cute, but if it actually gets implemented, then I'll be like impressed. The Democratic Party doesn't even try. It's like, oh, I owe them something, so that's out the door. The Libertarian Party, it's just kind of like floating in the air at this point. I really don't hear anything from any of them besides when Tony makes them speak up. So, I mean, I gotta go with who's at least trying to get my attention. I've noticed a lot more black entertainers, black male entertainers are jumping on the Trump wagon. And it's like I was saying, they're not saying like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like I was listening to this podcast that's on, I forget the name of it, but this guy was saying like, I'm going to vote Democrat because the people that I know aren't in the tax bracket that I'm in. And yeah, I got taxed. I only received 63% of my income when Obama was in office. I'm okay with that. I was like, that sounds ridiculous. I was like, if I'm making millions of dollars and I'm only seeing 63% of it, I'm upset. Like I'm trying to figure out where are the tax breaks for for somebody that has dedicated this time and energy to get into the next tax bracket, like, why am I being punished? Like, and I was just like, yeah, no, I can't rock with that one. Like, the thought process would be if I'm a millionaire, I'm trying to create more millionaires, not allow people to sit and be comfortable where they are. So yeah, it kind of made me nervous that was the mindset of some of the black and wealthy.
Mm-hmm. So for you, Chad, what do you think is at stake for Chad Ellis if we hypothetically have a Joe Biden presidency? So after tomorrow, let's say we find out the election results and it's not Trump, God forbid, but it isn't Trump, and Joe Biden is our president. What is at stake for you, Chad Ellis?
Specifically,
what do you feel?
What's
yeah,
at
what do you
stake
feel?
for me is my small business as well as the small businesses that I've helped create. They're gonna fire me because they're not gonna be able to afford their subscriptions to my business, and that's social media marketing and social and media and branding and consulting. They're not going to be able to afford that because they're just going to be like, well, we got to cut costs somewhere, and most of the time the first person that gets cut is advertising, the advertising dollars. So if it's not somebody getting fired.
And you believe that because of Joe Biden's policies and possibly the people that are going to be the puppet masters that are working the strings?
I believe that from Democratic history in taxing, as well as they don't believe that you should own your own business. They believe that you should be a working class citizen.
Yeah. Don on our YouTube channel says, how many entrepreneurs are out there debating whether they should make that leap into the next tax bracket? You know, the American way is like, hell yeah, I'm going into the next tax bracket. That's the goal, to level up once and again. But boy, when you look at what the Joe Biden administration has in store for you, it's maybe makes you question your ambition. Maybe your ambition can take place in another 4 years with another roll of the dice at an election. Chad, when we were speaking with Brandon Tatum earlier, he suggested, along with his Blexit movement, I asked him, I said, make a prediction. What's your expectation? I think it was 8% of the black vote came out for Trump in 2016. That's not big, but I think that's bigger than they expected in 2016. He predicted 25 to 30% of the black vote to come out for Trump. That's sizable. And he makes it his job to be paying attention to these things, to talking to people about these these types of issues. You know, I'm not going to ask you to make that kind of prediction because that's not what you do. But I am curious. Do you think that the Trump administration, over the span of 4 years, this is an arc of time, you know, when he came down the escalator to where we are right now, do you think that he has made a case for Black Americans to at least consider him
Absolutely.
for the future of this country?
Absolutely. Just from speaking to a lot of young Black men that say that, the Democratic Party has done less and less to actually try to win over their vote, as well as they don't feel comfortable, like, at all. Like, you got two people that believed in putting Black men in jail, and one says she's reformed and the other one says the 94 crime bill doesn't matter. It happened in 94, which is still putting Black men in jail to this day. So if that doesn't matter, and she's saying that she's reformed and now she's a little bit more liberal and wants legalize marijuana and things like that, I can't really believe that, because like, I'm a person about action. Your action's always going to speak louder than your words. And quite honestly, the words that they've been spewing out has been a bunch of lies in disarray.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. So are you saying ultimately you think there's going to be higher Black support?
Absolutely. I think this is going to be, it's not going to reach, when Obama was in office, when like black voting was at its all-time high. But I definitely believe that the Donald Trump has a great potential to reach a lot more Black families, especially due to, like, he got Biden to actually speak on trying to close factories and things like that. Removing jobs from automotive places. And I know people that work at they don't think about it, but fracking would get rid of Ameren UE and places like that as well. And I know a lot of, people that work at Ameren UE, GM, Ford, Chrysler, that work at these places, and those jobs created an abundance for their families. So if they're worried about losing their job, they got to wake up.
Chad, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. Next time we have you on here, I think we're going to know who the next president is going to be. I don't know. Next Monday, I'll ask you, what are your predictions for last week's election? Maybe we'll have an answer. Maybe we won't. We love having you here. Thank you so much for the time. And we're going to cut you short this week because we've got Congressman.
So hurt. No, I'm just kidding.
It was you or Congresswoman Ann Wagner. And so we deferred to her. But next week, you will be back with us and encourage people to tune into the election coverage tomorrow night. You part of that, right? You're running the show.
Running
the show. So stick around. We will be covering all of the election night activities right here on 97.1. And the Annie Frey Show will be doing so on all our social medias. So subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. We'll be right back.
How many times must we tell the tale? How many times must we fall?
Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
Cassin's Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, conveniently located right off of 270. You just go down 159, go north a couple miles, and you're right there. You're in their parking lot. It's easy peasy. They have the best customer sales staff in the region. Car buying is kind of a stressful process, and they have adapted with the way people do purchasing now. They know that you're shopping online. They know that you're typing in some type of search engine, a specific radius you're willing to drive to get the best price. They also know how some of these games work and how some of these dealers can use this against you to get you in the building, to get you in love with a car. And then when you show up, it's not exactly what was advertised. You're not going to get that kind of treatment at Cassin's because they're going to treat you right from the start to the finish because they want you to come back and buy your next car and your next car and your next car from Cassin's. And so many people do, I myself included. Chrysler, Pacifica, family pricing right now. Great deals as well on Jeep, Dodge, and Ram vehicles. Go online to cassinscan.com and see what they have for you and connect yourself with one of the amazing staff members there. cassinscan.com.
Are you registered and ready to vote? Find out and register if you need to at vote411.org. Don't miss the deadline. Have a plan to vote on November 3rd or know the deadlines if you're voting by mail. Vote, make it count. Go to vote411.org.
2019 pricing. That means in just about everything you do, the price goes up a little bit the next year. Things cost more. This year, Darren at Rhino Shield is holding his prices to last year's levels because he knows people are dealing with different issues during this whole pandemic. If you were thinking about getting the outside of your house painted, don't. Get it Rhino Shield. Have a Rhino Shield put on the outside of it. This is this exterior ceramic coating. So don't wait. Get on the list now, right? Get it done while the getting is good, and you don't have to worry about the outside of your house or your business or your condo or your church. Go to 877-25rhino.com. Darren's got a lot of pictures, before and after pictures of the hundreds and hundreds of properties in the greater St. Louis area that he's gone out and put this outstanding product on. You'll be glad you did, and then you get a 25-year warranty. 877-25rhino or 877-25rhino.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Attention St. Louis homeowners. Are you looking to sell your house without all the stress? Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis can buy your house cash and close on your timeline. No commissions, no repairs, no appraisals, no showings, no headache. Call Chris now, 314-782-7000, or go online to chrisbuysHomesSTL.com to get a free no-obligation cash offer for your house. Behind on payments? The tenant stopped paying the rent? The house needs too many repairs? Not a problem. Chris buys houses in any condition and deals with any situation. There's a reason why Chris Buys Homes is the most trusted home buyer in St. Louis. Go online to get your offer today. chrisbuysHomesSTL.com or call 314-782-7000. That's 314-782-7000.
Ideas matter. Socialism versus capitalism. National debt. Every issue is on the ballot. What's your decision? 97.1 FM Talk. Your home for Decision 2020. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
Senator, Joe Biden and you ran in the centrist lanes during the primaries, but it's been interesting watching what's happened in the last few days. Elizabeth Warren is indicating that she would like to be Secretary of the Treasury. Bernie Sanders has talked about pushing for Secretary of Labor. Kamala Harris, who would be vice president, is rated the most liberal member of the Senate. If Joe Biden wins, isn't the left going to come after him really hard after the election?
Chris Wallace there asking a question with Amy Klobuchar in an interview that he did this weekend. I have to, when you look at the swath of people who would be put into place if Joe Biden wins this election in the cabinet, you start seeing and listing off these names. It to me brings everything back to the vibe I have, the feeling I have when I'm talking about the House of Representatives. Nancy Pelosi is having her way with the House of Representatives right now. We see what comes out when they want to do stimulus relief for people suffering from COVID. They can't just do stimulus relief. They got to put all the pork in there, and they got to, get their pet projects taken care of. It's more important to Nancy Pelosi and these Democrats that happens than that you get the stimulus relief that other folks in Congress think that you need. So if we're going to have more of that when Joe Biden, if Joe Biden were to get elected, man, brace yourself. Also, have you voted yet? Please go do that, please. Congressman Ann Wagner is on with us right now. I'm imploring people, Congresswoman, for your sake and for all of our sakes, for people to get out and vote and bring a friend. And if you don't have a friend, make 5 and go vote. What's it look like? Right. What's it look like if Nancy Pelosi's Democrat Party, because I believe it is her party right now?
Yeah, it's pretty dismal, and it's shameful, to be perfectly honest, Annie. When you were just talking about the fact that Nancy Pelosi would use as a political football families' lives, business owners, people that are trying to get back on their feet after this, horrific pandemic that we're still in the middle of. The fact that she would continue to use that as a political wedge issue instead of doing what's right by people is absolutely shameful. We were able to pass at least 4 bipartisan packages, but the last several months, all she's wanted to do is play politics with this. And as you said, fill it up with $2.5 trillion of pork, issues that have nothing to do with COVID or with economic recovery or relief for families, for small businesses that are suffering. We agree on so much and could have gotten a number of things done in a 5th package, but nope, she wanted to try and use it to her political gain, and it's very shameful.
Congresswoman, if Nancy Pelosi's majority in the House, if that gets extended to the Senate, if that gets extended to the Oval Office, how drastic do you think change is going to happen on Capitol Hill? What their pet projects, there are so many of them that they've listed. And then the progressive nature of this party is very, very far left. How far left will it go?
Well, about as far left, liberal, extreme, radical lurch as you can imagine. This is why, Annie, this election is so important, and I am so glad that you are imploring everyone, and I am doing the same thing today and have been for weeks and weeks, telling them to get out and vote. This is a clear choice, again, between, frankly, socialism and this lurch to the radical extreme left, or preserving more of your freedom, your liberty, the values that this district stands for, the values that families in the second district stand for. And I will tell you that there couldn't be a more stark contrast between myself and my opponent, Jill Shoup, on so many issues, from taxes, which she has raised over her 20-year political career, dozens of times. And I don't mean, Annie, just like income tax hikes. It's property tax hikes. One time on the school board, she offered and tried to pass through a 21% property tax hike on her neighbors, and they rejected it. But it's sales tax, it's gas taxes, it's vehicle registration fees, raising utility fees. There isn't a tax she's seen that she's not for and supporting. And as we try and recover economically, it's important that people keep more of their hard-earned money. So that's number one. Number two, Medicare for all. She's introduced it, standalone legislation that's full on Bernie Sanders socialism. If you like your private employer health insurance, if you like Medicare as you know it, or if you're a veteran who likes your VA medical plan, you will lose it under Jill Shoup's world, Nancy Pelosi's world, Joe Biden's world, and Kamala Harris's world. And thirdly, and I think most shamefully, I'm very proud to have the endorsement of our Fraternal Order of Police, our firefighters, the St. Louis Police Association, and others. And my opponent has absolutely run her whole grassroots organization through outfits that their number one priority is to defund the police. And it's not just the company she keeps, Annie. She has voted in the 12 years of her 20 years in elected office, 12 years in the state legislature in Jefferson City, she has voted against at least 5 public safety budgets. So she has actually voted to defund the police, corrections, highway patrol, the Capitol Police, to defund programs and grants that come to our local municipalities and police officers. So to me, I could go on issue after issue after issue, and it runs up and down the ticket. And they are really trying to take away our, as I said, freedom, liberty, and the values I think we all uphold.
We're speaking with Congresswoman Ann Wagner right now, running again to be reelected in the 2nd District. When you ran in 2016, you got a lot of attention in Missouri from President Trump. We even had Southern Illinois attention when he was running to make sure that he could secure the Mike Bosts of the world and the John Shimkus and the Rodney Davis, all your Republican colleagues who are working to fight for freedom in the House of Representatives. We haven't had that attention here. I assume Missouri is solidly a red state. Illinois, of course, solidly a blue state. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, the polls that you're watching, the numbers that you're seeing, the absence of Trump's presence here in the state of Missouri, does that give you confidence that Missouri's going to go strongly red? And does that help you feel confident about what's going to happen tomorrow night in your race? What do you expect to happen?
Absolutely. We've certainly been working with our campaign headquarters and with the RNC and the different Republican organizations, all in tandem, and with the Trump campaign, to make sure that there is presence here. Our headquarters is got a large Trump contingency, and one with the Missouri Republican Party, our other statewide candidates. We just finished up the governor's bus tour, and Laura Trump did a fantastic job and a message for everyone. I was with Sarah Huckabee on Saturday before we went door to door all over creation to continue to get out the vote. But I think Missouri's going to go strongly in the red column, up and down the ticket. I hope that I'm going to be able to earn that vote of my constituents here in the 2nd Congressional District. I'm honored to be finishing up my 4th term, just my 8th year, and I think we've been effective, a fighter, someone who works hard, both in constituent services and taking care of of those here on the ground in the 2nd District that are trying to navigate the federal bureaucracy and agencies out there, help them, especially during this pandemic time, whether it was stimulus checks, unemployment, getting their small business PPP loan, but also helping that veteran who feels isolated and alone. So the work we do is here on the ground, but it's also up in Washington, D.C. And I think I've been effective in having a number of pieces of legislation that I've authored and actually have my name on them, and that have been signed into law by both President Obama and President Trump. I've passed legislation when Republicans controlled the House and when Democrats controlled the House. So we've gotten things done, we've delivered, and I hope to be able to earn the vote for another 2 years to serve the people who are my neighbors and my friends, the people I've grown up with and worked with and go to worship with. And it's been an incredible privilege to serve, and I hope I have that opportunity going forward.
I do as well. One last question before we let you go. The state of Missouri going red, that's something that I think that the Trump campaign is confident about. Of course, you're going to be a lot more effective in the House of Representatives if you have somebody in the Oval Office that would sign legislation that you send to them. And I'm sure that you are hoping for a Donald Trump victory. Do you feel comfortable in the face of what a lot of the mainstream media polls are with the president being under? You listen to the RNC. We spoke with Liz Harrington at the beginning of the show. They have a lot of confidence within the campaign and within the party that Trump is going to do well. Do you have any vibes, expectations?
You know, I think it's very hard to poll this president. I think he's going to do much better than the pundits and the mainstream media are putting out there. This time 4 years ago, they told us he was down by 14 and didn't have a prayer of a chance. And look what happened. Look at these zigzags, this country, the rallies and the events and the spontaneous, parades and boat parades and truck parades and people who are standing up to really get behind his message. And that's one of representing the people and growing back this economy to where he had it back in January, which was record low unemployment, incredible economic boom time. We can do this, and we're going to get through this pandemic. We're going to make sure that Donald Trump is reelected, and that we can go on to continue the work that he has started. So I'm optimistic. I think they were proven wrong, 4 years ago, and will be this time too.
Congresswoman Ann Wagner encouraging everyone to go out and support you and send you back to Washington, D.C. Being in your neighboring state, I'll take every Republican candidate that I can annex and feel like I'm an adopted daughter of.
Hey, you're going to get Rodney Davis, too. I just got off the phone with him. His numbers look good. He's solid, and I look forward.
He's my guy.
A classmate of mine, and I hope I have earned the privilege of returning to Congress for 2 more years to serve with people like Rodney and others.
Thank you so much. Congresswoman Ann Wagner, thoughts and prayers to everybody running, you as well. We can't wait to see what happens.
Thanks. Take care, Annie.
You as well. That's Congresswoman Ann Wagner. Make sure you go out and you can check her website. If you've got questions about her as a candidate, she is on the ballot in District 2 there in Missouri. Go support her. Check the box, people. Check the box. Make it happen. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the show and hand it over to the DGS, who will be taking over at 3. Put a bow on this as soon as we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group is the expert when it comes to preparing you for your retirement. Now, you've worked really, really hard. You're watching this election. It's kind of scary. I'm not going to lie. It's not scary because, the outcome is imminent and obviously going to be scary. It's just scary because you don't know. I'm always afraid of things that I don't understand or I don't know. And that's the way this goes. You want to know how your retirement is going to be there when it comes time to retire. Thomas Helbig gives you that confidence, that peace of mind, and you can get yourself set up right now with a free consultation with Thomas Helbig by calling this number. Mention the Annie Frey Show when you give him a call, 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. He's going to give you a copy of his best-selling book, The Boomer's Guide to a Worry-Free Retirement, as well. And the book covers everything he goes over in his educational events and more. Thomas Helbig is such a kind person, a great friend of the show and of the station, and you'll see why immediately upon your first meeting with him. 314-993-9494, online at retirementkey.com.
Obamacare was enacted 10 years ago, limiting your choices and driving up your costs for premiums, deductibles, and copayments. Republicans want to replace Obamacare with a system that will lower your costs, increase your choices, and protect your health care, including insurance for pre-existing conditions. Don't believe the stories that Republicans want to take away your health insurance or destroy Social Security and Medicare for seniors. Vote Republican November 3rd. Paid for by the St. Charles County Republican Central Committee. Mike Summer, Treasurer.
Hi, it's Michael Mohan with Community Mortgage. With all the bad news out there, it's easy to miss the good news. Mortgage rates are at historic lows, making now a great time to buy or refinance a home. My customers are locking in the best rates in a generation. Now is the time to use the equity in your home to cash out for a remodel, pay off high-interest credit card debt, or rid yourself of the dreaded PMI. During these volatile times, you need an experienced local loan officer working for you. Call me, Michael Mohan, at 314-336-6050. I'm here in St. Louis, and when you call, you talk to me. Whether you are purchasing or refinancing, I want to help you save money on your home loan. Michael Mohan at Community Mortgage, 314-336-6050. Online at communitymortgagestl.com.
Community Mortgage LLC, NMLS 250-353-224-143.
At Diamonds Direct, nobody tells our story better than our own associates.
I hear from customers that come in how shocked they are. They're able to, only with Diamonds Direct, afford a diamond that they never in their wildest dreams thought they'd be able to get.
People are just thrilled with what we offer.
We have exponentially more to choose from. The resources that we have away from our wholesale roots, really untouchable.
When you come here to Diamonds Direct, you know it's something special. You know it's something that is one of a kind, and you got that at such a phenomenal value.
To be a jeweler and have this kind of firepower, we have all these mountings, all this selection, all these diamonds, and incredible prices is just unmatched.
And I think our customers appreciate that we are so open and honest about every part of this process.
What they're surprised by is the extent that we go to provide an unparalleled, luxurious shopping experience.
This company has a 60-year heritage in diamond cutting, diamond mining, diamond wholesaling. So there's no possible way to get any closer to the source than with Diamonds Direct.
We won't be undersold.
Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Store hours and directions at diamondsdirect.com.
It was a time of optimism. Businesses were growing and the American dream was alive. But a health and economic crisis lay in wait, threatening our security and prosperity. Businesses struggled to survive and support their employees. The weight was on their shoulders. Insperity was built for times like this. We've provided confidence amid the chaos, restoring the indomitable spirit of the American entrepreneur, together rising above. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Get in your comfort zone with 0% financing for 72 months and Carrier Cool Cash rebates on qualifying equipment when you purchase and install a new HVAC system. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Never been bigger stakes in the history of our country. I'm just telling you this, folks. Freedom versus shutdown. You've got to get out and vote. Don't use the excuse that, well, my vote's not going to matter. It is going to matter.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
What's better than dancing trumps? This should be enough. In and of itself. He should not speak. He should dance.
He is dancing an awful lot lately.
Oh my gosh. I watched the whole Miami, or what was that in Miami last night? It was in Ukalaka or something like that. Mm-hmm. Is that how you say that? Did I say that right?
Ukalaka, I think.
He
sounds like a place
I thought he was
in
in Georgia first.
Well, no, he was in 5 places yesterday.
True.
He was in Rome, Georgia. He finished in Florida.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah, because with Marco Rubio.
Jeez Louise.
I mean, this man, he's something more than a man.
I do not want to be mean to Joe Biden.
No, come on now.
I didn't. And so I was going to be very careful about what I said here tonight. But then I realized it's 10:30. He's already asleep. I can say whatever I want. Shh. Don't wake him up.
So the funny thing about that is that Marco Rubio, in my opinion, was well on his way to getting the nomination until he went and did stuff like that, which is when Trump out-Trumped Rubio trying to out-Trump. You don't beat Trump at Trump's game. You might be able to beat Trump, at least at that point in time, with your own set of rules that maybe other people are agreeing to. But when the primary in 2016 or 15 or whenever it was devolved into talking about hand size, are you kidding me with this right now?
Little Marco.
That was unbelievable then. And now, like, we could probably go around the room and play a game of naming nicknames and see how long it would take before one of us would bomb out. It's just the way it is now. Trump has changed the way we do business, and a lot of people blame Trump for that. They blame Trump for the discourse. To use a phrase from Joe Biden, folks, man, he says that a lot. And he yells it at you, and you're like, yes, sir, what can I do for you? Folks! Yes, I got it. I understand. When you are looking at how the media has treated Republicans, conservatism, elected officials who are Republican, the fight was never fair. Because the entire predicate of the discussion is Republicans are Christians who think they're better than you. So they set the tone so that Christians are supposed to be perfect people. Well, it always ends up that they're not, obviously. And when they're fallen, when they're broken, they're like, see, told you they weren't as perfect as they thought they were. And so then Republicans get all wrapped in and saying, trying to defend what they aren't. I'm not a racist because, I'm not a bigot because, I'm not a sexist or misogynist because, I'm not a homophobic because. And all you're ever doing is saying, I don't beat my wife. Right? Carl, why do you beat your wife?
When did you stop beating your wife?
Yes. When did you stop beating your wife? And that becomes, you start saying, well, why would you say that? That's never happened. Now you're having a conversation about whether you do or don't beat your wife. That is media ethics 101. Media ethics is a course that you take in communication school, which I took. And it's kind of laughable that it exists, that I took that class and passed it. And here I am in the media and there are no ethics to be found. Strange.
Can I ask you, Annie, what happened on your Twitter this weekend? Is that a conversation we're willing to have on? Okay. Because I feel like this falls perfectly into what you were just describing. The minute that you say you're a Republican, people are like, oh, you're a Christian that thinks that they're better than me.
Carl, did you see my Twitter this weekend?
I saw you got subtweeted.
By
a few people.
Alyssa Milano.
It's like big deal stuff, right?
It is. It's a big deal.
And she
quoted your tweet though, so it's not really a subtweet.
She was spiking the ball on me, but the funny thing is I'm like, sweet, Alyssa Milano retweeted me. Publicity is publicity.
Yep.
I sent out on Friday evening. I was laying in bed and I was thinking about, all of this because it never stops for me and probably for you as well. But I was like, what is Biden's platform? Aside from Trump is bad, what is Biden's platform? And when I say this, folks, I'm not saying that specifically to undercut what Joe Biden has to offer, because he does have policies and they are horrible. I'm not suggesting that Joe Biden doesn't have policies that he wants to implement. He does. They are going to be terrible for the country. But when people are talking about voting for Joe Biden, what policies do they believe they're supporting? Or is it just that he's not Trump? And the funny thing here is I voted for Trump in 2016 because he wasn't Hillary Clinton. There's nothing wrong with that mentality, that reason to schedule your vote for somebody. If it's because you are you detest the possibility that Hillary Clinton or that Donald Trump would have 4 years again in the Oval Office, then you vote for the other person. That's fine. It's your vote. You can vote for whomever you want. I hate when people are like, I don't care who you are. Everybody needs to vote. I'm like, everybody doesn't need to vote. If you're stupid, if you're uneducated, and if you're an ignorant person, you don't have to go vote. It's not a law that you have to vote. And you don't have to be book smart to be a smart voter. You just have to invest yourself in a little bit of the issues and the policies. So what are the policies? And when I was thinking about it, a lot of it is defined by what I hear Trump say is Biden's policies, no fracking and, all this stuff. But I'm like, what does the Biden supporter or what do people think are Biden policies? I sent out this tweet and it got sent into the liberal circles of Twitter, which they're not familiar with me. And let's be honest, the majority of any circle on Twitter is not familiar with me. I'm not a special person on Twitter. And
you do have a blue check mark, though.
I do, but I know a lot of people who have blue check marks. I mean, I'm like a D-list, G-list celebrity here. I'm not Candace Owens or somebody. I'm not a big deal. I'm not putting it out there because I have any delusions of how big of a deal I am or am not. So I put it out there. People started retweeting it because all it said is name a Joe Biden policy. And it was my intention the next night at about the same time to do the same thing for Donald Trump. I wanted them to be separate so I could kind of get the vibe. What's the vibe? And people started to retweet it and reply. And I have to tell you, it is very clear that the number one thing behind Joe Biden, according to his supporters, is that he's not Trump, and also that I support a racist and I'm a fake Christian. I mean, of all of the things that people did, and when people would actually reply with actual Joe Biden policies, I'd give it a like on Twitter because I was like, thank you for doing what I asked, and I'm interested to hear what these policies are. I spent more time this weekend being attacked, and I replied to a lot of people. I basically did it all day long. I basically spent the entire weekend with people in really heinous ways at times, questioning my Christianity and how it jives with voting for Donald Trump. I have one thing to tell you and one thing alone. Donald Trump is my president. He is not my savior. I do not know what faith my doctor is. I do not know what faith my banker is. I'm trying to do this like Dr. Seuss. I do not know what faith my mail carrier is. I do not know what faith my grocer is. I just want them to be good at doctoring and mail carrying and banking. I want them to be good at the professions that they have chosen for themselves so that when I interact with them, the way we do things in this country, they do a good job. And I have never, ever gone I've had surgeries before. I've never gone to my doctor and they've been like, well, before I can perform the surgery, I need to know what you think about the Pentateuch. That has never happened to me. And nor would I ever allow anybody to operate on me where that was some sort of, prerequisite for this relationship that we now have. So to suggest that the number one thing that I need to know and square and justify between myself and who I vote for the president of the United States is that he needs to think exactly the way I do and behave exactly the way I think he needs to behave regarding, my faith and my Christianity and what Jesus wants people to do. It's a non sequitur. Don't get caught up in that. I do pray for him. I have no idea if he's going to heaven. I have no idea what's in his heart. He doesn't know what's in my heart. But that's not why he's there. And all of this is to say that there's a binary choice here. Joe Biden, Donald Trump. I'm not even going to engage in why, if we were voting on who the better Christian is, why it would be one or the other. Because I don't know what's in either of their hearts. I don't know if they'll both be in heaven. I don't know if Donald Trump's going to go to heaven and Joe Biden's not. I will pray for them because I pray for the people who help run our country. I pray for the people who are put in positions of authority. I pray for them. I ask you to pray for them without ceasing. But my Christianity is based on one thing alone. I screw up all the time. I am not good enough, and something else needs to come in there and save me from what I've done to myself. And that is the same thing for Donald Trump. That is the same thing for Joe Biden. That's the same thing for you. And that's up to you. It's up to them. It's up to me to reconcile what that means for us in our lives. But if we're going to get into this idea that because Donald Trump is clearly a sinner, that somehow I can't vote for him, then you are completely misguided about what kind of person I am, because I am a sinner too. And it was so evidentially clear to me this weekend on that tweet that there is so much anger, there is so much hostility out there towards Donald Trump, and there is a great misunderstanding on things that are way more important than that. You can go read the tweet. A lot of people think they're dunking on me, but joke's on you. I gained 2,000 followers, so I'm not sad.
So thank you.
Yeah. At the end, I'm like, somebody, Jack Posobiec, he's like, why are you responding to these people? I'm like, I'm gaining followers. What are you talking about? He tweets because he's got 1 million followers. He tweets Annie Frey is a national treasure. And then I got like an extra 700 followers. I'm like, you are a kingmaker, sir. Man, I didn't know what I was getting into, but
People were real nasty.
And
I'll just say that.
They were. And I'm not, it doesn't hurt me at all, folks. So if you read that and you feel sorry for me, you're very kind. I'm good. I am A-okay. Go read the replies, though, to the next evening when I put up name a Trump policy. Because you know what? Trump's got a lot of really friggin' good policies. And I'm reading, I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. Oh, that's really cool, too. I can't believe he did that as well. I forgot about that. Hey, you guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow on Election Day. Can you believe it?
Woo! That's tomorrow?
Man. DGS. Take it from here.
So beat the drum. Hello, home lovers. Let's plan an awesomely successful